Hello and welcome to the live stream. My name is Chase Crawshaw. I am one of the hosts of the Bulls broadcast here in the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm looking very forward to doing this. This is my first watch along, my first time going live on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. So I'm really excited. I know a little bit what's in store, but it's also going to be a little bit new to me. So I appreciate you guys being patient and enjoying the game with me. Seeing already a couple people going in chat. Hi, I believe this says Yomo. I see 2 5-3 USAs. I personally, if I had to bet on this, I would say that this game will end up being anywhere from the 5-1 to the 6-1 range. I think that this Germany team's pretty solid. They got a couple NHL draft prospects, but it's far from a star-studded team by any means. And this U.S. roster, as much as I like a lot of the skaters, the goaltending is a bit questionable. So I think that, there's a chance a goal gets let in, but I like this team's defense enough where I think it's going to do a pretty good job suppressing Team Germany's chances. But if we want to, let me get this pulled up here, and I'm going to show you guys kind of the lineups for tonight, what we're going to be going for. Starting on the U.S. side, we got Landon Slager in the middle, Carter Mazur and Thomas Bordeleau on each wing, with Brock Faber and Luke Hughes on D. I really like that starting lineup for the U.S. I think that it's a pretty rock solid top line. You've got 5 legitimate NHL prospects at skater. Carter Mazur was just on the national championship team for Denver this year. Luke Hughes, obviously 4th overall pick to the New Jersey Devils, returning back to the University of Michigan for his final season this year. He should play a pretty big role here in this tournament. And then, of course, Captain Brock Faber, recently traded from the LA Kings to the Minnesota Wild in that Kevin Fiala trade. Should be a pretty big tournament for himself, too. I would expect these 2 guys to be strong contenders to end up on the all-tournament team. Oh, Dylan, see you there. What's going on? Great to have you here. I do appreciate it. Victoria, I see that you subscribed earlier. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Going back over that lineup a little bit more. I'm mostly going to talk about the U.S. team, and that's a team I got a lot more familiarity with, but I'll mention some German names that I have some more familiarity with too. Then for second line with Logan Cooley, Matt Coronado, Matthew Knies, Jake Truscott, and Wyatt Kaiser. It's a very solid group 2. Truscott kind of came out on the scene a bit out of nowhere. He partnered with Owen Power last season at the University of Michigan. Was not really someone that I pegged to be on the Team USA roster, but it's good to see that they're going to trust him, give him a good opportunity playing with some very talented players. The third lineup matchup will be Dylan James on the middle with Brett Berard on the wing. Then Mackie Samoskevich on the right wing with Jake Peart and Tyler Clevin. And then that fourth line, we do have Sasha Pastudov, Red Savage, Duran, whose name I'm drawing a blank on right now, and drawing a blank on Moore's name too, actually. But nonetheless, it's a talented U.S. group, a lot of legitimate NHL prospects, a lot of guys that I got a lot of aspirations for. Yeah, absolutely. As Dylan said, big shout out to all the new subscribers to the THPN channel. We do appreciate it. We're really trying to grow this channel. We're going to be doing all sorts of live streams during the World Juniors. So please be sure to tune into them. So this 6-3 score from Victoria here that I see, this one's a little better. I think the gap's gonna be a little bit bigger than the 5-3s that we saw from a couple other people, but I don't think it's gonna be an absolute slaughter by any means. Kind of what we saw earlier with Finland Latvia being a 6-1 final. I could see a kind of similar result really at the end of the day. I think the talent gaps are about similar at the end of the day. Maybe Germany's, they've got more of a leg up than Latvia, but just the pure talent for Team USA, I am definitely a big fan of. The only questions really come in net. With Keppel, it's going to be interesting. There's really no superstar on this in this Team USA roster in net, so it's going to be kind of a committee thing for this tournament. It's going to be interesting to see who ends up getting that job for really when the meta round comes, once it starts mattering a bit more. Absolutely. I agree right here. Please hit the likes. Please hit the subscribe. So we really greatly appreciate that. Absolutely. 6-2 USA. I can get behind that one. I can definitely get behind that one. The spread for this game is 4.5 in favor for Team USA, according to DraftKings. And if I had to bet, I would take US on that spread. I think it'll be close. That's why I think it'll be about a 5-goal difference. I don't think it'll be 6, 7, 8 goals. But I could see it being a 5-goal difference. It really just depends how much offense is brought and the kind of defense that they're bringing and how they're suppressing the German attack. On Team Germany side, they've got a couple NHL draft picks, but there is a name, that I think is pretty under the radar. He's not someone that gets a bunch of talk. Was not an NHL draft pick at any point yet. 2002 born Alexander Blank. I'm a big fan of his game. He ended up scoring pretty well in the German pro level. I think he's got a good chance to be a pretty good factor here for Team Germany. So things should be getting rolling here soon. As I'm watching here on my TV, game should be starting up here just about any minute. Appreciate everyone coming along. Yes, I do know Hard Knocks has released at the exact same time, so I'll be checking that out once this game is done. But I'm looking forward to this game. Should be a pretty good one for the U.S. Let me adjust this. And a surprising name that hasn't been drafted, if I'm not mistaken, for Team Germany, a guy that I've liked quite a bit as a prospect, Maximilian Glotzel. I thought he was someone that not necessarily had some star NHL potential, but could be someone that could eventually work his way, have the right physical tools, could be a bottom of the lineup type guy. I expect him to hopefully be able to play some decent minutes for Team Germany, but they do have 2 NHL draft picks on the back end with Maximilian Zuber and Luca Munzenberger. So both those guys will probably get a little more priority, but I would assume that Glotzel is going to get some good opportunities as well. So it's going to be on NHL Network starting here just about any minute. They're doing just the pregame stuff right now, so you can find it on NHL Network. Ooh, how many likes for a giveaway? 75? You know what? I can get that. 75 likes and we'll do some sort of giveaway. But I got some Bolts broadcast merch. I'm happy to give away. So as Dylan pointed out here, 75 likes on the stream, and we'll find a way to make it happen. How's that sound? Oh, John, you could get me singing this right now. I don't want to scream. I got my girlfriend that's starting to go to sleep in the other room. I could scream that chant at the top of my lungs right now, but I think she'd have a meltdown. Liam, the game is beginning here in about the next, hopefully 5 to 10 minutes or so. Should be really getting underway here any second. It was slated for a 10 o'clock start time on the broadcast. So usually you can give anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes for that, but it should be, really in the next few. If we hit 100 likes, Dylan will throw in some THPN merch as well. I mean, let's get to it. We might as well, right? It's a Tuesday night, first game of the tournament for USA. Should be an eventful one. Hopefully we can get the fans coming out to the stream. If we get to 100 likes, then we'll have a little double giveaway action going. I like this. I think this is a pretty good plan. So make sure to like the stream. Absolutely. Share it with your friends, family. Share it on social media. Share it wherever you gotta. Like the stream. Absolutely, please do that. Hit the subscribe button on that THPN YouTube channel, and the more you like the stream, the more it'll get recommended to other people, other hockey fans that are looking for something to watch during this game as well. Couple other lines, that I did want to mention. The over under this game is 6.5. I'm a betting man, and I'm pretty much taking the over in most circumstances. Let me adjust my microphone. I apologize. So I'm taking the over in most circumstances. I'll take the over in this game as well. I do like the potential of that 6-1 game. It just feels like a good number, maybe even a 7-2. I think the spread will be barely just hit, and I do think the over will be taken. Then of course the U.S. is heavy favorites in this one, -500 if you're betting just the puck line, but that's really not a great bet unless you have enough faith in Team Germany to sneak out a win here. Then you could get some really good money on that one. So in this tournament, you've got 5 teams per pool, and there's 2 pools. So that 10 total teams in the tournament, you play through a round robin. It means you're guaranteed 4 games. From there, I actually got a double check on this one. I don't know for sure if they're doing it or not the relegation, but in previous years, they do relegation. So the bottom teams from each pool, they play in a little up to 3-game series, and the winner that gets to stay in, the bottom team gets relegated. I don't know if that makes a difference now with Russia and Belarus not being eligible to play, and with COVID, I know they did get rid of that for a little bit. So you're guaranteed 4 games, and then in the round robin, I should say, excuse me. And then once you move on, the relegation round, if they're having that, you can play up to 6. If you're playing in the medaling rounds, or you're playing through the playoffs, You have the quarterfinals. If you lose that game, you're done. You play 5. If you win the quarterfinals, then you're guaranteed 7 games. You'll either play for the gold medal or you'll play for the bronze medal. So you're right here. This is a man who took my advice. My brother texted me earlier about this today. Took my advice. I 100% am on board with this. Absolutely. Yeah, ATH. He definitely is. He definitely is an entertaining figure. That's for sure. Puck drop is getting ready to go, at least here on my screen. I don't know if you guys are watching on your cable provider, if you're watching online, what the delay might be, but they're lined up across the blue lines right now. Hopefully, we'll be getting rolling here soon. Ooh, look at this. This is a bold take right here by Jacob. Germany 4, USA 3. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I can get there, but I do like the optimism. You're really gonna be hoping for a strong performance by Nikita Kwap, who was again an NHL prospect goaltender, and he has some abilities. He was a draft pick for a reason, but it's not going to be an easy feat by any means. I do appreciate again everyone coming out for the stream. Hopefully, this will be a good watch along, a good and entertaining hockey game as we're getting ready to roll here. Dylan does ask who's taking the gold medal in this tournament. There's obviously a couple obvious answers. I want to hear what everyone might have to say in the chat. I've got a couple opinions on my own, as well as a dark horse candidate that I do really like. The game is starting pretty much right about now, Liam. So if you have an NHL Network or have access to it, make sure to tune in. Or at least that's what it is in the United States. I don't know where else you might be watching from. It could be on elsewhere, but I know in the US it is on NHL Network. Keep this in mind, 100 likes, and we get a big old giveaway coming from THPN and the Bulls broadcast. So get the stream up to 100 likes. Let's really get things rolling. Let's get this going all over YouTube. Let's see if we can get a good turnout. And where are my fellow Americans? I agree, Kristen. That's absolutely a great question. Me, I'm from the state of Michigan, so got a couple local guys that are on this Team USA team. Andrew Oak, goaltender, is from the same city that I am from, Shelby Township. So it's cool to see him, end up making this roster. But the puck has dropped, and U.S. did lose first faceoff. Puck is in the German zone though, and they are already showing that they are probably going to have a pretty strong dominance in this game. If you can watch it on Hulu, I'm not sure if you have Hulu, like the live TV version, they should have NHL Network, so you should be able to find it there. But if you just have Hulu for the streaming, then probably not. So my YouTube channel is just my name, Chase Crawshaw. I haven't posted in a while. I've only done a couple posts. I do host the Bolts broadcast, which is the Tampa Bay Lightning podcast here on the podcast network. So if you want to go check us out there, I'd really appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitter at Bolts Broadcast. I haven't posted to my own YouTube in quite some time. Don't really necessarily know when I'm going to be. I'm super busy. I was able to make this stream work today time wise, but I've been way busier recently with my work, so I don't know how much I'll be able to post on my own YouTube. I can post it. Let me see if I can just link it for you real quick. I've only got 2 videos on there right now, and they are not my favorite quality, but I will copy and paste it into the chat for you. So here is the YouTube, and then on Twitter you can follow us here. You can follow us on Twitter at Bolts Broadcast. Type in right there at Bolts Broadcast. You can follow me personally. I'll type it in as well. That is my personal Twitter as well. So if you want to follow us in there, that would be great. I would very much appreciate that. No, absolutely. I get that. I get that. Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Liam, I do not have very many. Maybe I'll start posting again some more. I'm hoping to find the time. I haven't posted in quite a while. I posted ahead of the 2020 draft, I believe it was, or 2021, whatever it may have been. I haven't really posted since then. I've hoping if I can find some free time this year, that'd be great to post some more. But with my schedule, it's not necessarily as easy to find that time. Victoria, we do appreciate that. I appreciate the follow on the Bulls broadcast. Hopefully you can tune into an episode and enjoy the content. I think that me and my co-host Mike, we do a pretty great job. But it's fun getting to cover a team like Tampa Bay. Obviously, 2-time Stanley Cup champions. We've been hosting that show for 3 years now, and they've been in the Stanley Cup all 3 times. So obviously, some very exciting teams. It's definitely a ton of fun. Let me switch this back to the live score. I apologize for that. Just realized. There we go. All right. Cool. No, not a problem, Victoria. Do appreciate that. Not a problem if you're not a Tampa Bay fan. Our show, what we do, we talk pretty much half and half. We do a lot of very Tampa Bay focused stuff, and then the second half we'll cover a lot more general NHL news. We'll talk about the World Juniors. We'll talk about European leagues, different international tournaments going on, just kind of any hockey news that comes about. So it's a good show if you're just generally interested in hockey, and if you're a Tampa fan, there's a lot more orientation towards you in the beginning as well. So regardless, it would be great if you wanted to check it out. I think that it does a good job filling the needs really for any hockey fan. Something going here, maybe. This U.S. power play looks okay. I was hoping to see a little more from them. Look a little more star power, but it just seems a little sloppy right now. Doesn't look like the greatest play. No, absolutely, Victoria. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I apologize if you do hear a squeaking anytime I move. I'm sitting in a kind of old leather chair that is, it's pretty much any movement I make sounds kind of squeaky. So I do apologize if you do hear that in the background. Let's see here. That was a tough turnover right there. Yeah, right now this U.S. power play is just really not getting much going. It's a team that you think would have a lot of success on the power play given the offensive star power that it has, but just really not going their way at the moment right now. Just they look like the better team than Germany. That's for sure, but they don't 4 minutes in don't look necessarily dominant. Well, great save by Quap there. So make sure to send in the chat who you think's gonna maybe who scores the first goal, maybe who thinks gonna win the gold medal in this tournament. It's gonna be pretty exciting. We'll be going here until I believe the championship game is August 20th. It's a Saturday, so make sure to let me know who you think might win gold. Yeah, right now this game's just slow and sloppy. Really, nothing too much going on. The U.S. does look like a better team as I mentioned, but they've really had a hard time kind of generating any grade A chances so far. 5 minutes into this game. We got Higgins Lake, we got Vancouver, we got Pennsylvania, we got people from all over the place tuned in. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Solid body contact. Oh, US has a decent opportunity here. And nope, bad bounce. Not going their way. Roy Neil Soto, hi. That's great to have you here. I appreciate you coming out. I saw that you were, one of the first ones to send a message in the chat earlier. I do appreciate you coming out and watching this live stream with us. As I mentioned earlier, I kind of talked about having a sleeper team I like for the gold medal for this tournament. Slovakia, the last time that this tournament was played back in December, January, when they were, trying to get it going, obviously they had to cancel it. Slovakia was a team that I did put some money on to win gold. They were a very strong underdog of mine, very talented team. They're a lot more on the radar now, obviously, after the first two picks in this last draft. Juraj Slafkovsky, Simon Nemec, both Slovakian-born players, two very supreme talents. I think that roster, even outside of those guys, they have, the up-and-coming Dalibor Dvorsky. They have Jacob Chromiak. They've got Martin Sturbach. They've got a very talented team. So, I could really see them having a sneaky chance at medaling here. Gold medal might be a stretch, but if you're looking for a long shot bet, go on them. But otherwise, I mean, this is probably Team Canada's tournament this year. Finland always does a great job competing in the U20s. They play a really nice, structured, sound team game. But this Team Canada roster is just supremely talented. So if you're going to have to put money on one, I'm putting my money on Team Canada. USA 2-0. You're looking for a low-scoring one here, huh? Man, I hope it's a little more offense than that. But right now, I wouldn't doubt it. The pace has been a little bit slow, not too exciting by any means. There's been a couple chances from the U.S., but nothing, quite too crazy. Do I know how many people do live streams for this tournament? If you're talking about in terms of the Hockey Podcast Network, it depends. We're hoping to have people live for most games. We had someone live earlier for the Latvia Finland game. I am live here for this one. Going forward, there will be more live streams as well. In terms of other YouTubers, I'm not sure on that one, or wherever they might be streaming from. That I'm not exactly sure on. And Jacob, I gotta pretty much agree. It's really hard to see another team kind of taking that over. I mean, especially, look how Connor Bedard, obviously young superstar sensation coming up this year, 23 draft, played so great in the tournament last year that got canceled for Team Canada, 5 goals through those 2 games. He could play a pretty big role this year, getting back Mason McTavish, someone who I thought was probably going to pass on the tournament and really compete for that spot for Anaheim. He played a little 9-game trial last year, thought he was going to get a better opportunity this year too. I thought he was going to maybe want to prepare for that, but at the same time, what's more preparing than a super competitive tournament like the World Juniors? So I can understand him returning, and that Team Canada rosters as a whole, it's very impressive. And like Dylan said, right now we have 10 streams lined up for this tournament. Hopefully we can get some more going too, but we do have 10 lined up as of right now. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to be paying attention to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. You can see when streams are, scheduled, when they might go live. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification, hit that bell, so you can know when we are going live. Right now, shots are 8-0 in favor of the U.S. This is about what I expected. Was hoping for a little bit of offense at this point. We're nearly halfway through the first period. No goals on the board quite yet. Yeah, make sure to turn in tomorrow. Canada, Latvia. Dylan will be hosting the stream himself. This should be a pretty good entertaining one. Dylan does a great job running the network here and does a great job, of course, hosting his show and putting on just a great product for the Hockey Podcast Network. So make sure to turn to that stream tomorrow. Well, that's a large human being, whoever that is. Yeah, it looks like he's 6'8". I don't know who that is on Germany. Number 9. It looks like I have to pull it up and see. Or maybe it's number 5. No. I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. Who is the star on the USA team? If I had to choose one person as my star player, it would end up being Luke Hughes, 4th overall pick for the New Jersey Devils. Young kid, had a strong season at Michigan, was a top 10 finalist for the Hobie Baker Award. He is a supreme talent, someone who really came on to the scene. Was obviously a highly sought after draft pick going 4th overall, but really kind of exceeded expectations as a true freshman at the University of Michigan. So he's someone that I'm expecting to have a pretty big tournament for the U.S., as well as Logan Cooley, the recent third overall pick this year to the Arizona Coyotes. I think he's someone that right now is slotted in for second line minutes, but that could be to his benefit at the end of the day. Playing against teams second, maybe even third line type guys, second, third D pairs, should give him a little more opportunity to hopefully provide some offense. Yeah, the U.S. is just all over Germany right now. Just not finding the back of the net. Quap's doing a pretty good job thus far, making the saves he needs to. It's just the talent level. It's quite large. Germany they play a very hard working game. They definitely compete to the best of their abilities, but at the end of the day, the talent level is it's just very very big. So it's hard for a team like that to compete in this type of tournament. I hope I'm wrong. I'm a big supporter of hockey minority countries, Germany, Latvia, Austria, those countries in this tournament. It would be great to see them have a little bit more success than they traditionally do. But I mean, as we're seeing right now in this game, the U.S. is pretty much just dominating them at this point. Let's see if we can pull the statistics here. Yeah, as of right now, 12 shots on net for the U.S. Nothing for Team Germany. Obviously, Quap is doing well. No pucks have gone in, so obviously save percentage is 100% for each side. And minus that first face-off, it's just it's been Team USA really from the get-go. Germany obviously had the first face-off win, and then from there just have not done much. Well, yeah, we definitely do appreciate that. I'll do my best to try to narrate the games the best I can. I'm no play-by-play guy by any means. I'm not necessarily the smoothest talker. I take I stutter a little bit, take some pauses, but I will provide you as good of commentary as I can. To try to keep you updated on kind of what's going on. If there's any big plays, I'll talk about them. Any crazy saves, any goals, whatever's going on, I'll definitely make sure to talk about them with you. That was weird. That's a weird flashback. I mean, really, right now it's just one team. It just seems like they're almost just toying around with Germany. Germany's trying. They got the puck in the U.S. zone right now, just trying to attempt shots on that. But at the end of the day, it's really not even a competition right now. It's shocking that you look at shots being 13-0 this quickly into the game. You'd assume there'd be a goal at this point, but the U.S. is they're really finding ways to avoid scoring. Turn like right there, the puck squeezing out of the blue line. That there's no excuse for that not to be held in. I don't know if something's going on with the ice, if it's a little more bouncy than normal, or maybe something up with these pucks, but it just seems like they're really not getting any bounces despite kind of dominating at this point. Decent play there. That was incredible. That's incredible strength of that goalie to fire the puck that far down. So I'm not sure how many people here are big junior hockey fans or World Junior fans, but me personally, it's really one of my favorite times of the hockey season. The NHL draft is what takes the cake for me. So this is always a great time to kind of really get a first look at some of the prospects that might be eligible in the upcoming draft for the guys like Connor Bedard and Team Canada who are playing a really kind of early for them. There's not many kids that are 16, 17, 18 that get to play in these tournaments. It's usually made for the 19 turning 20-year-olds. So it's great to see them. And it's really great to see these prospects playing, these NHL draft prospects going. But something about this summer tournament, I was hoping I was going to be a little more excited for it, and I'm definitely still excited for it. But it feels off. I don't know if like if it's something wrong with the environment in the arena. It seems a little bit slow. I know Team Canada wasn't playing today, so with it being in Canada, you're going to get more fans for the Canadian games. But even for like the earlier game today between Slovakia and Czechia, or for this game against US and Germany, I thought we'd maybe see a few more fans. So it's a little dull. It's kind of lacking a bit of energy. Hopefully that changes throughout the course of the tournament. Hopefully for Team Canada games ends up being a little more packed. I would assume that they will be, and maybe that'll hopefully get my excitement up a little bit. Just saw a little blurb at the bottom of NHL Network saying that New York Rangers forward Jacob Trouba was just named captain, which I don't know if the NHL Network knows or not, but Jacob Trouba is not a forward. He is a defenseman. But nonetheless, Jacob Trouba, if you have not seen, was named captain of the New York Rangers today. It was leaked last night by Kevin Weeks, made official today. Interesting choice. Trouba is a local Michigan kid, so it's good for him. Good to see him do that. But I kind of thought that it was going to go to Chris Kreider, someone that's been on that team for, his whole career, of course, and it's been 10 years now at this point. I'm pretty sure he was there for their again initial cup run in 2015. So maybe, or was that the year 2015? Gosh, I can't remember now. But nonetheless, he was there for their cup run, and it just seemed like that was going to be kind of a perfect fit. So it's a little surprising to see that it ends up going to Jacob Trouba instead. Big hit. And I'm not sure how many how many how many Tampa Bay Lightning fans are out there watching the stream, how many people that we might have gotten from our posts. Though the one strong hope that the U.S. team had for a Tampa Bay Lightning prospect was Isaac Howard. Did not make this team, the central roster. I fully expect him to be on the winter iteration of this, the 2023 World Juniors. I expect him to be on that roster, but with this extra year of eligibility still being available, there's a goal for the United States actually. But with this goal, or with this extra year of eligibility, since it's still technically 2022, it's not too much of a surprise that being a bit of a younger player, he did not make the roster. So sure enough, Luke Hughes gets the first goal tournament for the United States. Shot from the point. Really just nothing too crazy. Yet Carter Baser gets tipped from the net early on in the play. Kitty Quap's doing a decent job following it. Team Germany's just really struggling kind of getting out, though. Mazer goes back to the front of the net. Luke Hughes winds up, takes a shot, ends up going top right corner there. It's as routine as it gets. Maybe it wasn't as top right corner as I thought it was. But anyway, it was just a nice shot. Luke Hughes, someone I expect to put on a pretty good show, as I mentioned. It's only a matter of time before he starts racking up the points in this tournament. Apologies. There we go. Thoughts on the extensions given out by the Lightning? I can't really say I have an issue with them. 3 8-year deals given out. As not too surprising that Sergachev, Sorelli, and like those two guys got those deals. Chernak, maybe a little more surprising that he ends up getting an 8-year, but a very, very sturdy player for the Tampa Bay Lightning, someone who is very trusted. Obviously, a great right shot D man at this point really is their number one right shot D man. So it makes sense to lock him up. Now that you had to move on from over the last couple of years, Kevin Shattenkirk, Zach Bogosian, now Ryan McDonough was traded this summer. We're losing key pieces, so it's good to keep those guys on the back end. But Sergachev getting the big extension he did is not surprising to me by any means. I think he is a very underrated player in the league. He's definitely regarded as a very sturdy defenseman, but I think if he were on almost any other NHL roster, he ends up as that team's number one or at worst number two. But he's going to play top he's going to play top pair minutes pretty much anywhere else he goes. A little bit different with Hedman, of course, in front of him. Obviously, he is a stud in the league, arguably the best defenseman behind Cale Makar at this point. So it's not too surprising that Sergachev is kind of going to play second fiddle to him. But Cirelli is just incredibly underrated. Great, just really second line center type guy. Someone who does not get enough recognition for the Selke each year. I really think that for whatever reason, he just kind of goes under the radar. I don't know if it's because you've got the Steven Stamkos and the Nikita Kucherovs, the Braden Points, but he deserves more credit, more recognition. I think that was a very fair deal. And then Chernak, as I mentioned, getting your right side defense locked up there. Got him, Cal Foote really is the two incumbents for that side of the ice. I've got no issue, locking them up at the price that they did for that term. Richie, I wonder what makes you say that. It's the statement might be very, very slight bias. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm reading here. Logan Cooley, hell of a player. Don't get me wrong, but come on. I don't think we're seeing Matthews heading to Arizona, at least not to get out of the college rank. I mean, I would be embarrassed if I was Austin Matthews and I had to go from playing in an arena that seats 18,000 to an arena that seats 5,000 and will only get 2. That's tough. That's definitely tough. Yeah, and Jacob, sorry, I'm just circling back and just saw your comment. It was a bit rich for me for Nicholas Watt. I think he's a solid player. Don't get me wrong, but just kind of that really. If you're a good team, you want him no higher than your third line. Like you want him to be that kind of guy, play a little bit of a role, and that's fine. But if I'm not mistaken, it was a $3 million a year average, and it's a little much. You're hoping the cap goes up, where in 2-3 years that doesn't matter. But let's be honest, we've been hearing the cap is going to go up the NHL for decades at this point, really. And it goes up ever so slowly. Obviously, there's been some big changes, but the really last like 10 to even 15 years, you keep hearing, it's going to go up to this. By this year, it's going to be at this, and it's never the case. So I really wouldn't put much stake into it. So with that being said, I do kind of agree with Dylan here. I just don't think that I don't think Vegas is in a very good spot. I think they're gonna have a tough time. Obviously having to trade away Pacioretty for what they did, being a absolute superstar in the league for quite some time, incredibly underrated player, despite him being a strong scorer and people know his points. But I think he was still even slightly underrated. So to give him away for pretty much nothing, I mean, I think actually nothing other than cap space. That's tough to kind of rebound from. Yeah, you got Eichel. Yeah, you got Mark Stone. Yeah, you got Shea Theodore. All those pieces are great, but as great as a story as it was for Vegas to go on that run, year one, really compete against Washington and say like a final, probably wasn't in their best interest to be so successful right away, because now there's really not many young pieces in place. This would be the point where you'd have some younger prospects really stepping up. Obviously Cody Glass, he didn't work out. You'd be hoping Nick Suzuki would be on the roster, but he was of course traded. So you're not really having those young pieces in. Okay, I don't think I can go here. My co-host Mike would love this one. Not seriously, because he for whatever reason hates Mark Stone, and I think Mark Stone's a hell of a player. Don't get me wrong, but to say he's the best player in the league, I mean, it's not even the best right winger. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Jack Eichel was, maybe had a chance to be one of the top players in the league at one point, but he kind of let that fizzle out. Never really came to much of anything in Buffalo. Now maybe he gets an opportunity in Vegas to do something. I don't know. We only really didn't see enough of a sample size for me to kind of just really write him off or whatever. But I think that he's got a chance to bounce back and kind of maybe find his game, but I don't know. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna lie. I think the left hand of Connor McDavid might possess more ability than Mark Stone and Jack Eichel combined. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sorry, Jacob. Absolutely. Dylan, great point. Everyone that is 21 and older, please sign up for DraftKings. The promo code THPN. The link is in the description to support this channel. That would be great. We very much do appreciate that. DraftKings is a great source for your sports betting. I am a very avid sports bettor. DraftKings provides great lines. It provides a multitude of bets you can bet on the World Junior Championships. It's really a great tool. It's a great source, great site. So make sure to go sign up for DraftKings. Man, Jacob's just not a fan. Not a fan of my takes here, huh? Oh, that's funny. That's too funny. It'll be interesting to see what Vegas does going forward, though, because I think they're probably in a spot where they should still go out and try to compete. Don't get me wrong, but if you don't make the playoffs, if you can trade someone for some assets, maybe you do it. You look at what Seattle did this year. Obviously Seattle, they tried to build a different way than Vegas did. And right now they're reviewing a hit in this US Germany game. It's a pretty tough hit. I'm surprised it wasn't like immediately called or reacted upon. So I was a little shocked. So I think they're reviewing it right now. But nonetheless, I think that like what Seattle did, I don't like their expansion draft that they had. The roster was not how I would have built it. There's about 15 different players I would have chosen. A pick like the Gavin Bayreuther pick where they just let him walk in free agency and sign right back in Columbus. That didn't make much sense. But at least they are currently in a spot where they're building for the future. They're acquiring a lot of assets. They lucked into Shane Wright. They have Matty Beniers. They got a stud in Oliver Bjorkstrand in a trade that was really nothing. Oliver Bjorkstrand is an incredibly underrated forward. He's an analytic darling. And Andre Burakovsky, I do like that signing as well. The team's in a spot where they're going to be kind of on the up and up. They still might be bad enough to compete for that first overall pick this year, where they can get Connor Bedard and they can kind of be set. Whereas Vegas, it's just they're kind of stuck in this weird spot. They're not bad enough to go compete for first overall pick. They're not really good enough to be cup contenders. It's gonna be tough. That's too funny. I really would love for Jack. Oh, we're getting a ruling here. 1 second. 5-minute match penalty game misconduct for Team Germany. Yeah, the hit looked rough in game speed. Watching the replay, it definitely was a tough hit. Excuse me, the U.S. player, I couldn't see who it was. Maybe it was Dylan James. Kind of, was falling a little bit. Was a little bit lower. So he was kind of in a spot where if he did hit him, it was going to kind of cause some damage. Yeah, he's trying to battle for the puck, so he's a bit lower. So I can understand it with how the IIHF rules work. They are very much trying to get rid of the head contact and bad hits. I understand that. So pretty much any head contact hit ends up in a 5 in a game. So that's tough for him. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Oh, look at that. Look at that. My counterpart, like mentioned, logged in on the We're Not Professionals YouTube, commenting on the stream, checking in, seeing what's going on. Him and I talked earlier. Maybe there's a slight chance to see him in the stream as well. But this handsome guy on the screen is Chase Crawshaw. You can follow me on Twitter at Chawdust. I typed it in the chat earlier. We'll type it again a little bit later as well. You can follow, our podcast on Twitter at Bulls Broadcast, at Bulls Broadcast. Where go follow the We're Not Professionals podcast on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's WNP Sports Pod. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Excuse me. We do a lot more football content there, but we are I'm Jack Eichel's brother. Man, I wish maybe he could be filling my bank account a little bit. Maybe we buy me a car or two. That'd be cool. So now they got this 5-minute power play. The USA is firing. Good opportunity there. Doesn't squeeze in. It's just for whatever reason they're bounces just aren't really kind of going their way. Puck's not finding the back of the net other than the lone Luke Hughes goal, of course. But this U.S. team just they look superior. I don't know what they got to do to kind of really get scoring a bit more, but I think they're gonna, at some point really break the seal, and things are kind of start unraveling a little bit for Germany. Guapa is playing well. I'll give him credit, but it's just too talented of a team to only keep them, at a 1 goal per period pace in this type of game. Skates like Ike too. That's let's be real. You're being slightly generous. I'll give Eichel the very slight advantage in the skating. He could probably beat me in a full lap race around the rink, but it'll be close. That is 2-0 USA now though. If they finally break through, power play is going to keep rolling as it is a 5-minute. I believe that was Matthew Kanice. Could be wrong, but that's what it looked like. They do the old play that I hate, the power play break in where you drop the puck back in the neutral zone, but works out here, obviously. Oh, that's Logan Cooley, excuse me. Oh, Richie's all about it. Yeah, Logan Cooley gets the goal. It was a good effort. Didn't really catch the pass on the first, or catch the puck on the first pass, excuse me, but was able to kind of squeeze it in there on the second effort. So that was a good play, good goal. That's what they need. Oh man, that Yotes team is just that's a tough roster. It's a good point, Mike. It's a great point. I saw the models. I don't know if anyone else did that. What the ranks going to look like this year for the pro games at ASU's rink, and it just it was kind of sad to think and realize that an NHL team is going to be playing there 41 times, and that 2 NHL teams nonetheless are going to be playing there 41 times. It's tough, and really more than that because it's going to extend a couple seasons. Hopefully, they get that arena deal figured out soon. They need to find somewhere to play. The NHL is not going to be moving out of Arizona anytime soon. We know that at this point, and I don't really have an issue with that as long as they can find a permanent home and do it quicker rather than later. I don't want to see them playing too much longer there. Oh, that was a terrible turnover by whoever U.S. defenseman that was. That was a really strange play. But we're in the final minute here of the period. Team USA is up 2-0, kind of dominating Germany shots 23-4 at the moment. I think he's trying to roll down with 45 seconds left. Still 2 minutes left on the power play, so we will be going into the second period with power play time as well. It doesn't matter if they score 0 goals or 10 goals here before the period ends. They'll keep the power play rolling. To Halifax. Move the Yotes to Halifax. That's an interesting one. I personally have never been to Halifax. I've been to a bunch of Canadian cities. I haven't really been to Nova Scotia though in my life, so I can't really speak on the kind of what the population's like, what kind of crowd they might get. It'd be interesting. I'm not against if you're gonna move Arizona, put them in a Canadian town, whether that be a place like Quebec or Halifax, whether it be Saskatoon, who was really but a couple votes away from getting the St. Louis Blues moved there back in the 70s, I believe it was. So I think there's some good Canadian options if they're going to move in the U.S. though. We could see a second team in Texas. I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me if we saw the NHL want to move to Houston. I think there's hockey starting to grow there. There's enough draw. We could see another team in a place like California. I think it would probably stay in a warmer weather state rather than going to somewhere more north like Wisconsin or something, or one of the Dakotas. I think it'll probably stay in a more warmer weather state, or maybe even end up in maybe they'll go back to Kansas City. Maybe they'll bring back the Scouts, one of my favorite all-time teams. Obviously not around for very long, not around in my lifetime, but love the branding, love the colors, love the jerseys, love everything about them. Yes, let's bring the Halifax Highlanders to the NHL. I am all for this. There might be some legal ramifications to work out, but I mean, hey, just get. I don't know the production company that made the Goon, but just kind of like Disney did with Anaheim, or like with the Mighty Ducks at the time, just get them to buy the team, move them to Halifax, bring back the Highlanders. It'd be great. Yeah, and that makes sense. 5,000 people, if that's the number, 5,000, that's pretty small. That's not big enough to draw. I don't know how close some of the neighboring towns are. I know the Quebec League does a pretty good job drawing in fans. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got some decent turnouts, and if everybody in town in Halifax went to the game on an NHL game, I could see it happening. If that's 50,000, 95% are fans, it's still even a small number. You got to keep in mind a lot of these places that do very well, like the Torontos, the Detroits, the Montreals for fans. They're bigger towns. They've got a lot more people to work with, a lot more people that can go to the games. They got more celebrities in the area. Small towns for the NHL, it's tough to do, even in Canadian markets where you think there might be diehard fandom. It's just tough because you can compare the price of a Mooseheads game compared to the price of an NHL game, and it's going to be so large that people are already familiar with the Mooseheads. They know how well that they've done in the Canadian leagues, and they'll probably continue to support them. Okay, yeah, 417. Yeah, that 470,000 makes a lot more sense. Yeah, 5,000 seemed a little low. But still, even like at that number, it's possible. But I don't know. I don't know if I see a team coming to Nova Scotia. I really don't see any team moving here in the near future in the NHL. I think everyone's kind of set. Right now, hockey isn't growing quite as good as it should. I think the NHL needs to do a better job marketing. But really, when you look at where every team is, most teams are in pretty good spots. Yeah, right now Arizona's not doing a good job of drawing a crowd because their teams are terrible. But I think once they, if they can move back downtown, get a bigger facility, and really bring in some prospects to develop the team the right way, then they might be all right from there. But really, I can't think of a market that's necessarily like a bad place. So if we want to get to any new cities, new markets, I would just probably have to guess it's going to be expansion. How much is the league going to expand? I don't know. I really don't see it happening anytime soon either. So we're going to do a first period breakdown. Really nothing like I expected. I thought we were going to see a little more scoring from the U.S. Right now, they're on pace to cover that spread of 4.5, though, which is good. Right now they're pacing at a 6-0 game. But we do see goals from Luke Hughes, assisted by Landslager and Thomas Bordelot, as well as a Logan Cooley goal that was assisted by Matthew Coronado. They were, solid effort, solid goals. Shots on net 24-20 in favor of the U.S. It's going much better for them, shooting 8.33%. That's fine. It's not necessarily dominant in a game by any means. It's kind of underwhelming. Really, look at an NHL game nowadays that finishes 4-2, 3-2, and you're at anywhere from like 28 to like 36 shots. So you'd hope for a little bit better, but it's not completely horrible. You got to assume that some pucks are start going their way. I mean, if they continue shooting at this pace, that's a 72 shot pace. It's gonna be hard to get that many shots on that, but if they do, you figure they're gonna crack. MVP of the first period, it's absolutely Nikita Kwap, goaltender for the German team. He didn't face necessarily a ton of super challenging efforts, but he did make a couple very nice saves. I mean, he's made 22 saves in 20 minutes while facing 24 shots. Like, you can't ask your goalie to do much more than that, especially when you're not providing any sort of support system. If you were scoring a bunch, at least you could you could like let them handle the shots, and if you're gonna equal their offense. But right now the German team has not equaled the offense at all. Nikita Kwap has absolutely been the best player for really just for this game in general, but of course for Team Germany. If I had to choose one from the U.S. though, I'm going Luke Hughes. He's the most noticeable guy on the ice for me. Obviously has a goal. Just is a pretty commanding presence from the blue line. Is pretty confident with the puck. You can see that he's an elite skater. Has looked solid on the power play, but really, I just think this U.S. team, they kind of need to sharpen up a little bit. You see 24 shots and you think, okay, how are they not sharp? But you're just watching them play, they just don't look very crisp. I guess if you're gonna have a game like this, it's maybe better early on in the tournament against a lesser opponent where if you're looking a little shaky, you're getting shots in that, but they're not high danger against a team like Canada. You got to imagine the shots are cut in half and you're going to get no high danger chances. And then Canada's going to be going down and creating a lot more offense. Yep. Agreed, Tyler. Exactly what I just said. Nikita Kwap, German goaltender. He's a very very talented goaltender. He absolutely is. He's a Carolina Hurricanes prospect. He's got great size. He's 6'3", 6'4". He's playing in the German Elite League this year for the Eisbären Berlin. It's one of the better teams in the German league. He was a 6th-round pick last year for the Carolina Hurricanes, and I don't know what kind of role he's going to play for Eisbären, because it's really tough for young guys in these European leagues to get ice time, whether it's a skater or a goaltender. It's hard for them to get too much ice time. But I would hope that we could see him get some more games. I can't imagine him coming over to the U.S. until really about the time his rights are going to expire, which, that for him, that'd be 4 years from drafting. So he's got a couple years still to develop. I would expect him to stay over in Germany, develop the best he can, maybe make a push for North America going forward. He is a 6th-round pick at the end of the day, though, so who knows what kind of upside he really has. But I do like his traits enough, and he seems like he's pretty poised in that where maybe he could do some damage. Any player that looks ready for the show? Nope, not right now. I mean, Luke Hughes has, in my opinion, probably been one of the better players for the U.S., but he still just doesn't look like he's as dominant as he did for Michigan at points last year. Matt Coronado's assist was great to Logan Cooley. Logan Cooley did a good job driving the net. They look good on the power play, but you'd expect a little more dominance from somebody who was arguably ready to make that jump to the NHL on this Team USA roster. But it's just no one's looking quite dominant. There hasn't been someone that's been physically dominant. There hasn't been someone that's just been so much faster than the rest. There hasn't been someone that's just had a better shot, that's done this or that better than the others. They really kind of they're all kind of blending in, really. It kind of seems like they don't want to be there. I think I don't know. It just seems a bit slower. I thought it was going to be a lot faster. Obviously, the Jack Peart turnover was terrible. I'm watching it on my screen again. But, it all just looks like, I don't know, just kind of slow. So we got Umberko and made 3, according to the NHL Network, 3 saves in that period. It says 4 here on what's it called, on Flash Score. So I don't know what the actual number is, but 3 or 4 saves regardless. It's pretty low event at this point, going for the German side, and even the U.S. As I said, with all the shots, it's been pretty low event. But I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. I appreciate everyone being out here at the stream. I will be back here in just a minute or two. Alrighty. Appreciate everyone sticking around. Really not too. I wish there was more to talk about in this game. I was kind of hoping that we were going to see 3 or 4 or 5 goals, or maybe something crazy. But really, not a ton to talk about at this point. It's a little disappointing, but it is what it is, right? But going forward in this tournament, it's going to be interesting to see how this U.S. team does, because as I said, I do have faith in this roster, in terms of the skaters, but the goaltenders are a little bit more of a question. Of course, they got to play teams like Switzerland, Germany today, who are playing Sweden and Austria, so shouldn't be a necessarily complicated path to getting a decent seed. Obviously, Sweden's going to be a strong contender, but when you're looking at this game, Switzerland, Austria, they're teams that traditionally don't do extremely well on the junior circuit. They're a little bit better when it comes to the men's levels, because they can, bring a little more developed players. But a lot of those countries, they kind of struggle picking out too many players at this age group, because there's just such a large gap. Whereas in Canada and the US, in Sweden, Finland, even Russia, who's not at this tournament, those leagues, those countries, they do a much better job developing. They have many more players to choose from, of course. So I think the US should be in a good spot to at least finish in the top 2 in their pool. Hopefully gives them an easier path to play into a medal ground. Oh, man. So I'm going to make some predictions here for the second period. I would have to guess the U.S. is going to come out a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, a little more crisp. They're still going to have about 1:15 left on this power play, if I'm not mistaken. So I would expect them to capitalize at least one more time on it. And from there, hopefully the momentum just gets rolling. They keep up, the shots that they're putting up so far, and can kind of carry on through the rest of the game. Maybe put up a few more, cover that over 7, or over 6.5, depending on where you bet on it. It's 6.5 at DraftKings. Cover that 4.5 spread for the United States. That would be great. So really, if we can see, why don't we just take like a 8-0 win here for the U.S. So let's just see him really pat it on. I'd love to see Germany compete a little bit, but the way things stand right now, kind of just looks like they're just kind of here for the ride. I don't really know how much more can change. Yeah, they can have some lucky moments. Maybe they can squeak a puck past the netminder or two, but I wouldn't really expect anything too crazy at this point. Really, no one on this German roster stuck out other than Nikita Kwap. So let's see here. I actually got to be right back again really quickly. I will be back in just a few. Alrighty, back just in time as we were getting ready to start rolling here again for the second period. Like I talked about there in the intermission, really hoping for a better half or a better period, here from the United States. Starting off on the power play, get a little more power play time. I would hope that they can capitalize here really quickly, but it just really hasn't been too much of an eventful game offensively for the United States. Shots have been updated 29-4. The Nhl Network did have it as, I think it was 24, 23-3. So shots have been updated. We got a minute left on the power play here going forward for the United States. Let's see what they can get going. And pucks along the wall there. See, like I don't really understand what this formation is. I think that was Logan Cooley that got this puck. He was standing in front of, I believe that, I would assume it's Luke Hughes at this point. Yeah, it was Luke Hughes. He was just kind of standing in front of Luke Hughes. I just don't really think this U.S. team knows where to go in this power play. They're kind of scrambled. I don't really understand what the strategy is here. There's just they're kind of doing trying to do like an overload type of thing, I guess, but it's just they're just really kind of out of position. And right now, the only reason they're even they're slightly getting scoring chances just because they're a much, much more talented team than this German roster. The power play's got about 7 seconds left. They will go without scoring another power play goal. It seems like a little disappointing. I was hoping they could capitalize again really quickly, but was not meant to be. And that just squeaked in. Okay. Well, this power play ends, and then all of 3 seconds later, the U.S. finds a way to score from the goal line. That was a bit of a strange one. I don't really know how that got past Nikita Kwap there. They had this great power play hands. If you're watching right now, that the puck just kind of squeezed through. It was incredible that Kwap was making the saves that he did. Incredible that the U.S. couldn't find a way to just squeak it in. You think after making those saves, he's hopefully going to keep it rolling. But then here, on the goal line, Hughes gets the puck down to Slaggert there, and it just somehow squeaks it in really on the ice along the post. Yeah, I mean, not really much excuse for that one as a goal. And I know you're getting overwhelmed, you're getting peppered with shots, you're probably tired, but that's a pretty routine save that you got to make just about every time. Once that kind of goal lets in, that's really when you expect the floodgates to kind of open. I would assume that this is where the U.S. starts to take, more advantage of this German roster and kind of manipulates the holes in their game, the opportunities that they're going to give them. I would expect it to really kind of, start to take hold now. And I kind of surprised they're going to count that one, honestly, as of right now. Wow. Well, right now, as seeing on my score is not updated. Watching the game, I don't know kind of the score or on flash score. The score has updated. But interesting play. Puck kind of just being thrown to the net, and whoever it was crashed. I think it was Passagov crashes the net there. Oh no, it's not Passagov. I'm sorry, I can't tell who that is. But Passagov makes play up to Duran. Duran chips it in. Tries to get around the German guy. Can't. Just kind of puts it towards the net. Gets a little shot on there. Ends up kind of in the 5-hole area. Quap, and then whoever the American forward is there, looks like number 20 gets taken down and ends up with a goal. So that would, I guess they're going to count that as a goal for, they're listing it as Logan Cooley, which I don't think that was Logan Cooley. I could be wrong. But yeah, so I guess they're going to count that 4-0 United States. As I pretty much just said, I would expect the floodgates to kind of open up here at this point. Right now, they're looking like they're in a pretty good spot to cover that spread. Obviously, it's 4-0 right now, as you can see if you are watching the game. Lots of time left to be played still. We're 17:44 left in the second. Got one more period after this as well. The U.S. already has that 4-goal lead. I would expect going forward the lines against Germany to be a little different than this U.S. one. Only 4.5, despite the goaltending that the U.S. was putting on the ice. It's just teams in kind of two different worlds. I wouldn't really, expect much, much more of a closer game, I guess. But you know what? That is a great point, Graham. I know you are the hockey expert of our friend group, so there is lots of time to play still. I mean, we're looking at another 37 and a half minutes of hockey. Maybe this German roster can find a way to get more than 4 shots on that a period. Maybe they'll drop a little more offense. If it's really, it's really not much of a competition right now, unfortunately. But if you're not here earlier in the stream, I appreciate you guys coming out here now. Make sure to hit like on the stream, hit subscribe to the THPN YouTube channel as well. But if you do like the stream, this will help put it out to more people, more hockey fans that are looking for something to watch, that are looking for good hockey content that we can provide here on the network, as well as if we hit 75 and 100 likes in the stream. 75 likes, I will be doing a giveaway of Bulls broadcast merchandise, and 100 likes, we will be doing a THPN Hockey Podcast Network merchandise giveaway as well. So let's get the stream up to 75 and 100 likes. I mean, let's exceed that if we could, but let's get to 100 to start. That would be great. I would love, to have an opportunity where we can go give away some merch online. So make sure to follow us, at our personal Twitter account for our podcast at Bulls Broadcast. It's at Bulls Broadcast. Make sure to go follow the Hockey Podcast Network on Twitter at HockeyPodNet. That's at HockeyPodNet. And then for football content, if you got interest in that, we also do the We're Not Professional show. Go follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's WNP Sports Pod. That this might be a bit of a homer take. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what makes you think that, other than, they might be out shooting Germany by 26 and not scoring 4-0 at this point, but it does feel like a little bit of homerism here to me. I don't think you can really just make that kind of statement without backing it up. I do gotta say though, this Chipotle sponsored by Team USA is just fantastic. I heard that Chipotle usually like they cater their food, so they get, I don't know if it's just free Chipotle whenever they want, or if they get it pre post games, whatever. But I mean, what a dream, right? Oh, what a dream. Yeah, this is just sloppy. This is just, it's just sloppy hockey. This is something that I did worry about. When you play the World Juniors in December, you get guys that are already in the middle of their season, and they have obviously been rolling. So if you have a a college hockey player, pro hockey player, wherever they're coming from, they were playing in their season, so they've already got momentum. They're kind of up to game speed. Whereas now they're doing the summer tournament, it's a little different. I mean, I can't really imagine any of these guys have played very competitive hockey over the last few months. I know that the Ivan Halinka, or now the Halinka Gretzky tournament, is played every year in the summer. It's a little bit different, a little bit younger. Some guys got a little bit more energy. It's obviously a big tournament people are really excited for, whereas this tournament was a bit of a different format, like a bit new since it's not normally played in the summer. So I think we're getting a lot of that summer hockey effects. Guys just really aren't up to game speed quite yet. Hopefully that's the case, because if it's not, and it's just this U.S. team is kind of underwhelming, and I'm a little concerned going forward. Right here, 1000% agree. I don't know if anyone's got some close ties to Chipotle anywhere. If anyone knows anyone in the Chipotle, marketing team, I don't know, or whatever the hell it's going to take to get into contact with them. But that would be absolutely fantastic. Graham, that's a strong question. Maybe the German ice does have more grip. I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's very possible that this ice actually is a bit softer and a bit different than it is in the summer months. Playing hockey in August compared to January is very different, despite the internal temperatures, despite the ice temperatures that they try to keep. The temperature in the building, in the arena, is going to be higher when it's warmer weather out, of course. So the ice can be a bit softer in these types of tournaments at this time of year, but I don't think it's that drastic or that's an actual concern. The age range, It's really technically like I don't think there's a minimum age, but right now the youngest players in the tournament are they're really no one younger than 16 plays in this tournament. There's only been a handful of 16-year-olds to play for countries like the U.S. and Canada. They do more for other countries. It's a little more common because there's less hockey players to choose from those countries, but it's really it's safe to go anywhere from 16 to 20 years old. So like this one is the 2022 World Junior Championship. So since this was supposed to be played in December and January, it was gonna be part of the season ending in 2022. So if you were turning 20 in the year 2022, then you were eligible for this. So if you're a 2002 birthday or younger, you can play in this. Once it plays in December, January again, it'll be 2003s and younger. Yeah, Graham. Yes, you did. Good for you. You're learning hockey quicker than you ever thought you would. Absolute Lucy Roy Neal. Let's go USA. 4-0 right now. Hopefully picks up a little bit because it's only been what 6 shots so far in this period for the US when they're firing a little bit better rate at this point. They started with a power play hoping they were gonna get more momentum on that, but really didn't. I did not watch the Hall of Fame game, so I can't say I didn't see anything like that. But all I know is that the Detroit Lions are Super Bowl bound this year. You can put that in our takes tracker, Graham. I know that you're gonna run that. You can put that in the takes tracker. Why not? But no, let's be serious. Big Lions fan here, big football fan here. At the War Not Professional podcast on the Bolts broadcast as well. So looking forward to watch Hard Knocks when this is all done. Looking forward to the football season getting rolling. This is an interesting time because of course football gets rolling at this time of year, and now we're seeing this incredible hockey tournament with these high level prospects. This is kind of exciting stuff. It's kind of uncharted waters for us, with the tournament really not being at this time of year before. It's great for me as a very big sports fan, especially in the sports like hockey and football. It's awesome. I'm all for it. I can't read what that says. It's hard to read on my screen. It is like a million degrees in this room right now. I am absolutely sweating, but I don't want to turn the fan on. I already have the fan on the lowest setting possible, and I'm already nervous. You guys can hear it too much. I don't want to turn it up anymore. I'm just gonna sweat it out. Yeah, but we're about halfway through the game right now. US up 4-0. I was hoping for a little more offense at this point. Right now they're still on pace for an 8-0 game, which that would be, a good win in its own right. Don't get me wrong, but I really thought that we'd see the US be performing a little bit better, and looking just a little more sharp despite out shooting Germany so heavily. But good stuff by Maximilian Zuber, a prospect that I do really like. He was a Polish-born player playing for Team Germany. That's the country that he represents. It's where he grew up. Stepped up, made good body contact, really created play there. I like him as someone who's got some potential down the road to play some NHL games. Not someone I'd call a lock by any means, but he's got a lot of the right traits. Yep, the Yeti and the broken headphones. So I don't know. The headphones obviously doesn't matter. I like to be able to hear myself back a little bit through the headphones so I can kind of gauge how the volume's going on this. I don't know how it's sounding. Hopefully the Yeti's sounding all right. Oh, you're an Eagles fan. Oh, that's what that emoji's there for. Oh, that's that's tough. I mean, I I think that the Eagles, they have a chance to be an exciting team this year, but I could really see a universe where it flops hard. I just was not a Jalen Hurts fan coming out of college. I thought he was better off transitioning to a fullback, let alone being a quarterback. I mean, the way he runs, it's incredible, but just as a passer, it's so underwhelming. Well, Graham, appreciate you coming and checking out the stream. And I'm happy that the Yeti sounds good because I was testing it out earlier. Had tried to get a couple different levels, try to get the right spot where I was sitting. I'm happy this worked out pretty well. I don't know. Someone had torn Achilles. Someone at Carolina torn Achilles. If anyone knows who that is, let me know. The Carolina Hurricanes. I just saw it on the bottom screen there, and I just must have completely missed that the season. So if anyone knows who that is, send it in the chat. Let me know. Yeah, like I don't know what's going on here. I mean, the U.S. they look like they look like a step down from from the level of hockey that you usually see them play at the U.S. program, as most of these guys did play for. There's only two major junior players on this roster right now, so most players played through the USHL or at the U.S. National program. Most of these guys have played internationally for the U.S. before. Wyatt Kaiser's a guy who's making his international debut for the U.S., but most of these guys have played the type of hockey that the U.S. expects to play, and it's just not really like coming together the right way. It's a bit under. It's hard to say it's underwhelming when you're out shooting a team 30-5 and you're winning 4-0, but it really is the case. Just like that pass right there. If you're watching, you have whoever that was in the back door. That should be a routine pass, that especially with that kind of coverage that Germany was providing. I mean, there really wasn't any sort of tight man-on-man in the zone. It was pretty loose. They looked a little defeated. That should be an easy backdoor goal, but she couldn't get the puck there. It's an interesting helmet design. It looks like it's supposed to be like a baseball almost on the side of Umberco's helmet there. A little confused. I'm assuming it's not a baseball. It just kind of looked like that. Like that Jack Peer pass. I mean, the breakout pass, the puck gets there, but it was sloppy. You got players waiting for it. It's just something's just off. Hopefully, this is just an off day for this this U.S. team. Hopefully, going forward, there's no issues. Even though they're winning 4-0 and should win this game, really without any issue, it's just still off. Like it seems like one out of every three passes in the tape. That's really about it. Yeah, no, I agree. I do absolutely agree, PCOM. It is early in the season, and it's interesting, with it being a summer tournament now. Once things get rolling, it'll be all right. But it's just I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. I was still hoping for a little better. That could have been a little bit too reasonable optimism for me, but with it being summer hockey, with it being so early in the year, you can't expect anything super crazy. So that's fair. But that US goal, that's not going to count. That was a high stick. Right, I do watch college football. I am, if I had to say I'm one fandom over the other, I would say I'm a University of Michigan fan. Being from Michigan, living here my whole life, that is a team that I support heavily. I do support Michigan State. I support, really, at the end of the day, every Michigan college team. I know my alma mater, Northwood University, is a small school. They play, Division II football, so not necessarily someone I get to watch on TV week in, week out. But I just in general, whether it's U of M, whether it's Michigan State, whether it's Western Michigan or Central, Eastern, whoever it might be, I find myself really rooting for any of the Michigan teams at any point. So, of course, big fan of Big Ten football, big fan of Big Ten hockey. I love the Big Ten. It was great to see that we're getting USC and UCLA over here in a couple of years. Maybe that means we get to see hockey at those schools too, which that would be super cool. I mean, I know those schools have ACHA and club programs, so it'd be cool if they could, maybe one day make the jump to play in NCAA Division I, play in the Big Ten, because they got some great colors, got some cool uniforms. It'd be cool to see them on the ice. But yeah, I definitely do love college football. I'm looking super forward to it starting up here in a couple weeks. This August time, it really just is a weird time for sports though, because like it's an exciting time as you're really ramping up for the college football season, you're ramping up for the NFL season. Now with this tournament, you're really starting to ramp up for the hockey season a bit more than normal. But it is throwing me off a little bit. I feel like almost slightly overwhelmed by the sports right now, but it's better. I guess it's better to be overwhelmed by them than be lacking, right? Oh, yeah, I mean, they lost last season, but U of M this year they're gonna be they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be a pretty good spot. They're gonna have a hell of a passing attack. The running back group is great. The defense, yeah, you're losing some big players in Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, and Dax Hill, but it's really not too much of a concern at the end of the day. I've Other than Ohio State, I mean, U of M's got to be my number 2 to win the Big Ten this year. I think they're gonna have a pretty good season, and they're gonna get their revenge on State. Yeah, nothing better than I don't know where you're watching from, Roy Neal, but if you're especially if you're out west with college football games starting at 12 o'clock. I mean, you get to wake up on a Saturday if you're all the way out west at 9 in the morning. At 12 o'clock Eastern time, you get to wake up right to college football. That's great. Me being in the East, still waiting a little bit longer in the day, but nonetheless, still early. Nothing better than you got a Saturday off, nothing going on. You get to watch just 16 hours of college football, especially early in the year before hockey season really gets rolling, and that takes up more of my time watching more NHL games. Yeah, really nothing better. So I can't believe they're still reviewing this. I mean, we see what happened. It was obviously a high stick. I don't know why Knies even swatted at that puck. He ends up hitting Guap in the head there. We got a interesting situation going on here. I don't know if we're gonna end up seeing some sort of disqualification here. I know that as we saw earlier in the game, we saw the German player get disqualified from the match for a head contact hit, and it's kind of this just same thing universally across the IIHF. They're really trying to avoid head contact by any means. So even a high stick situation it could end up resulting in a player getting kicked out. So hopefully we get that resolved here soon. This review is taking up a lot of time. They're sitting here watching. His intent clearly was not to smack the goalie in the head. His intent was to hit the puck. Was it the right play to play the puck to high in the air? No, of course not. It's significantly above the crossbar. When you're at this level of hockey, you should understand that there's no need to play that puck. Yeah, you want to get control of it, but at the end of the day, if you hit it down in the net, it's not going to matter. It's a high stick. They're not going to count the goal. So just wait for that puck to come down and then try to play it when it lands in the crease. If the goalie catches it, it is what it is. And as a result of that play, now it being high in the air, and he ends up whacking Quap. He gets Matthew Knies gets a cross check to the head, and now he is in pain. So this whole play is just a mess. So I don't know if they're looking for a penalty for Matthew Knies, or if they're looking for a penalty on the German player there. I'm not really quite sure. I don't have my audio on, so I don't know what they're saying, but this is definitely interesting. Just so much waiting around. This is driving me crazy. I want to see the action get rolling. I don't. I really don't understand why it's taking this amount of time. This is a really long review period. I mean, it's just causing guys to get cold. It's better if these guys can keep playing, keep moving. I think once you understand what's called, if they're looking at both sides it's here, both the U.S. player getting the penalty and then the German player getting the penalty as well. I can understand there being a little more review, but still, you feel like it would have been decided by this point. I don't think there's really much to say. There was an intent on the U.S. player side, but it did hit the goalie in the head. Should have been a penalty. The German player side, there definitely was intent to cross check him, so you could argue that could be a game misconduct for the cross check to the head. Maybe you can argue game misconduct for the U.S. player. I don't know, but it should not take this long to make that decision. They just keep showing the same thing over and over again because they don't know what else to do. They got nothing else to talk about. It's taking just an unbelievable amount of time. I don't disagree with the statement here, other than there's one part I do disagree with is actually 2022. But the rest of that, I agree. Let's speed it up. You think we'd be able to get this figured out by now? But I mean, we're looking at like what was it been 5-6 minutes here at this point, maybe even longer than that. It feels like an eternity when you're just sitting here waiting. And it looks like there's gonna be no decision anytime soon. Okay, you know what? This is a statement I can wholeheartedly agree with, especially in 2022 reviews of sports. Let's speed it up. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Do gotta say though, I want to take this moment to thank you all for coming out. I really really do appreciate it. If you want to, if you haven't already liked the stream, if we get the 75 likes, we will be doing a Bolts broadcast merch giveaway. If we do 100 likes, we'll be giving away some THPN merch as well. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you want to go follow us on Twitter, our podcast page is at Bolts Broadcast. That's at Bolts Broadcast. The Hockey Podcast Network is at HockeyPodNet. That's at HockeyPodNet. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Chawdust. That's at Chawdust, CHAWDUST. Oh, I see you. That's a good spot. So does that, are you a Rutgers fan? Does that mean if so, unfortunately, I know that's a team that's probably localish enough to you. So it is determined that as a goal. That's what they were reviewing. Interesting. Okay, so that whole review process just confused me to a whole other level. I don't have the audio on, so I apologize that I can't comment on what was being said. But obviously, we see Matthew Kanai's looked like it two touches of the puck in the air, and then it hits the ice, and it doesn't look like anyone else touched it. So I don't know how that's allowed to be a Matthew Coronado goal after hitting it on the ice. That's really weird. I don't really know what to say. That's strange. Oh, fair enough. No, nothing wrong. No need to have a favorite team. I'm kind of in the same boat. With how I said I kind of lean more U of M than anything, but at the end of the day, I'm rooting for the whole state of Michigan. I just enjoy college football. It's definitely a different brand. Collegiate sports are awesome. You get to see guys that are in the process of life where they're really developing themselves physically, developing their game, developing themselves mentally as well. You get to see, the age range really. You got guys from 18 all the way up to 25, 26 sometimes across college sports, and it really shows the talent disparity sometimes, or even just the maturity disparity. The older players in college football compared to the younger players in college football, the older players in college hockey compared to the younger players in college hockey. You see these older players always, consistently go up and have better seasons, and then the younger players, obviously, if you're a stud, if you're someone like a Luke Hughes or back in the day, like Kyle Connor putting up 7 points as a freshman. Those guys you see have more success because they're super talented. And we're going to a coach's challenge. Okay, all right. Well, this game is never going to get played again. We're going to get stuck in the cycle of reviews. I'm not going to lie. It's fair to challenge this, in my opinion. It didn't look like the German players touched the puck at all. It looked like it was just double touched by the U.S. team. So I can't disagree with the decision here, but this is just taking so long. I can't believe how long this review process is. Holy crap! This might be the longest review in sports history. Like I don't I know it's two different reviews, but just the whole process, the amount of time it's taking, it's just it's incredible. It really is. I, I just want to see some hockey being played. I don't want to keep seeing the same clip showed over and over and over again. I can't even imagine what the announcers are saying at this point. Like what else is there to even talk about? I, it's it's been I didn't. I wish I checked the time when it started, but it's been 10 minutes. Like it had to have been. There's no way it's been any shorter than that. The amount of sitting around has been incredible. I just I'm I'm shocked at the amount of time that these reviews combined have taken. We're gonna get an answer here on the final decision, as it was called a goal on the ice originally. Well, not originally. It was called no goal. Then it was turned to a goal. Now it's officially turned to no goal again. So it's just an absolute mess. They don't know what's going on. This is just the most ridiculous thing ever. I can't believe the amount of time that took. I really thought they were debating on trying to throw someone out, not trying to decide if that was a goal or not. That was crazy. Oh, an HCH rate. Oh, I appreciate that hot take hockey. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate the viewers. I've just been sitting around here trying to figure out what to do with the last 10 minutes since we just spent 10 minutes of reviews going on. But I do appreciate you guys coming in and supporting the stream, supporting me. HGH was here earlier as well. He does a great job. So I do appreciate you guys supporting him and supporting me and the Hockey Podcast Network as well. Jeremiah, we appreciate that sub. Absolutely. So everyone come from the HGH trade. If you ever feel so inclined, it would be great if you could subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube page here, as well as give the stream a like. That would be great. I'd really appreciate it. We talked earlier, if we get to 75 likes, we'll be giving away some Bulls broadcast merch. If we get to 100 likes, we'll be giving away some Hockey Podcast Network merch. So make sure to like the stream. Let's get it spread. I would love to do a giveaway. Hot take hockey, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate the love. Absolutely. Make sure you have hot take hockey that love as well too. It puts out a great product. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, all subscribers come. This is awesome. We really do appreciate this, guys. You can say that again, Dylan. What a beauty, indeed. Look what he's done for just this stream alone. It's absolutely fantastic. We do very much appreciate it. Yeah, we got a USA power play coming up here. This is going to be hopefully a little bit better than earlier in the game. The original power play that was really quickly in the first period was pretty underwhelming. The 5 minute, even that was a bit underwhelming. Just they really seem kind of sloppy at the end of the day. There's really not much. I don't think that there's much like thinking going on during these power plays. It just seems kind of like a mess. I don't know. It's been really underwhelming for this USA team, despite outshooting Germany 32-5 at this point. I really thought that we were going to see a little bit more crispness, but it is summer hockey. I understand. Like even that pass in neutral zone right there. I don't like you're making a 6-foot pass with no pressure on you. That should be a pretty easy tape to tape, but you throw it behind the guy's skates. And yeah, so at the end of the day, the goal did end up being disallowed. So first it was determined no goal when the play went on. Then they went to review. After spending all the time reviewing it, they called it a goal. Then Germany challenges it and ends up with a no goal final verdict. So just absolutely confusing situation. Really, really strange. I haven't really seen a review to that extent in my life. It was definitely weird. Yeah, so absolutely, Jeremiah, I do appreciate it. Hot take hockey, you are the man. We appreciate that support. I appreciated that raid. I appreciate you, everyone. Hudson, good night to you. Appreciate you stopping by on the stream. Hope you sleep well. Hope you turn into more of our streams going forward. That would be great. Yeah, there's just like I know it's a power play, and you've got a little more wiggle room on the ice. The pressure isn't necessarily as tight, but there's just a lack of urgency. I mean, it's kind of forced plays, just sloppy passes. Really no intent to go out and generate some offense. So my score prediction for the game, going into the game, I was looking at I thought it was gonna be more of a 6-1, maybe 7-2 range. The U.S. goaltending isn't the strongest, but it's far from just absolutely like terrible. I thought that Germany would have gotten a couple better chances than they have offensively. Maybe squeaked in a puck or two, and I did think that the U.S. was going to play better than they have. I thought the shots were going to be about on par with where they are, but really it hasn't been very very many high danger chances. They've been kind of just pucks on net, bouncing off to the corner, not really generating too many rebounds. So I thought there was going to be a little more offense generated from the shots. I really thought 6-1 was a good one. That would have led to an over for the game's totals as well as the U.S. covering the spread, and I was a big fan of both of those bets if you are a sports better. And right now it's looking like US is in a good spot to cover that spread. But the over, who knows? Nikita Kwap is still playing very well for Team Germany. He's only letting 4 goals at this point. It's gonna be interesting to see the rest of the way this goes. If I had to call a final score for this game based on how it is right now, I would say probably 5-0. I haven't really seen enough offense generated from the US for me to have much faith that they're going to be able to get to 6, 7, 8, maybe even more than that. And Germany, they just can't compete at the moment. It's all Nikita Kwap. The skaters aren't really doing much at all. Right now, my favorite Michigan State jerseys. If you're talking about the football ones, so it's the I don't know how to say it. It's just nice and simple. Dark green and white. I don't like the alternates that they had this year where it had state in the big letters across the chest. I was not a fan of those ones. So just their classic simple home jerseys. I'm a pretty big fan of. I do like when they pull out the cartoon Spartan head on the helmet though. That is pretty cool. Michigan State, their colors they're really good for sports jerseys, for sports uniforms. You don't really see just too many just simple green and white teams out there across sports. I think it works well on the football field. It works well on the ice as well. Works great on the basketball court. I think State's color scheme is awesome. Here's the pressing questions. I appreciate the shout out. Cheers, I do appreciate that very much. But here is the most important question of the night: what kind of blizzard does he get from Dairy Queen? Me, I'm a simple guy. Cookie dough, Reese's. You get cookie dough, Reese's mixed blizzard. It's just, it's fantastic. I can't describe a more perfect combination for ice cream in the world. It really is awesome. I'm not a big ice cream fan in general, but if it came down to it, and I was offered a Dairy Queen Reese's cup and cookie dough blizzard every day of the week, I not even a doubt in my mind, just absolutely. Ooh, no. Germany generated a little bit of chance there, but nothing squeaking through, unfortunately. The white helmets with the classic green Spartan logo, that's solid. I absolutely do agree. They're navy blue ones. Are you? I don't know if you're talking about U of M, like the Wolverines, or you're talking about Michigan State Spartans. I can't picture a navy blue Spartans jersey because they're the classic green and white. But if you're talking about U of M, I mean the U of M blue and maize is just it's very classic clean. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it's just I keep saying it. And I feel bad that I keep saying it, but it's just the truth. Is I know it's summer hockey, but it's just underwhelming. hopefully by the time we get to the medal rounds in this tournament, I believe the first day for the quarterfinals is August 17th, so that'll be a week from tomorrow. By the time that rolls around, it should be some pretty good hockey. Guys will be a lot more up to speed, kind of understanding their competition level. Should be pretty good there. Right now it is a little bit sloppy, but come the quarterfinals, I think we're going to see some pretty good hockey. And I mean, even in the round robin play, when we see a little bit closer matchups, like we saw Czechia, Slovakia today, that was a great game this morning. That was an absolutely electric game. That was good if you're able to tune in. I was able to tune in for a bit of it, and it was definitely a good game. Whereas this one, the talent level is large, and not much offense being generated. I'd like to hear this from everyone. Everyone in the chat, if you could send your favorite NHL team, that would be great. I do cover the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Hockey Podcast Network on the Bolts broadcast, so I'm a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. I grew up a Detroit Red Wings fan. Those two teams are very near and dear to my heart. So, it could really call it either one of those two teams at the end of the day. And at this point in the stage of my life, they're pretty much on an even level with me. I love supporting both teams, and I would love to hear what everyone else has to say. I can only imagine. I know we've got people from all across the country. I know we've got friends out in Canada, up Western Canada, more people on the East Coast. So I'm sure we got a good range of hockey fans in here for different NHL teams. So be sure to send your favorite NHL team in the chat. Hot take hockey with the W. That's what you are, buddy. You're just a walking W. Yeah, Luke Hughes, be careful. Don't hurt yourself jumping the boards. That would be an issue. Oh, all the Leafs fans. That's tough. I truly do feel bad for Leafs fans. Leafs fans, they get clowned on pretty good, on social media, but I do feel some sympathy. I mean, it's a very historic organization who has just been plagued with this horrible unluckiness since '67. Of course, everyone knows that it's been since the 1967 season where they last won a Stanley Cup prior to the NHL's expansion. And you've got Austin Matthews, you've got Mitch Marner, you've got William Nylander, you've got John Tavares, you got Morgan Riley, you've got great players in the organization. You have a guy who could very well make the case to be the best American player of all time, and you're just not having any luck getting past that first round. It's tough. Oh, speaking of tough, that was not a good goal to let in by Nikita Quap. That was a tough one to watch. Yeah, Dylan, that is tough as well. Man, I thought about putting it on, but I didn't. The room's too hot. My favorite jersey of all time is the Vancouver Canucks black skate blade jersey. I've got a Pavel Bure one hanging up in my closet. If my room wasn't 90 degrees, I would have thrown that bad boy on and rocked it just for the hell of it, but didn't put it on today. But that goal by Nikita Quap, I think he just kind of misplayed where he thought it was going. And try to redirect a little too much into the boards where it just kind of slipped through that tiny little spot, kind of in the 5-hole where his pad was lifted off. That was a tough one to let in from that distance. But speaking of the Leafs, while I still here and reminds me, so what's the deal with Rasmus Sandin here? I mean, the guy's just sitting there, just waiting for a QO from someone. I don't know how every NHL team in the league has not sent an offer on this guy. I mean, all you gotta do is give up a second round pick at the end of the day to get him signed. I mean, if you give him that, I think you can give him $4 million a year, and it's all you gotta do is still give up a second round pick. Like that's an easy every other week thing for every single NHL team. Who this is a kid who can slot into almost any team's NHL or any team's top 4 defenseman at this point. And I don't know if he's just being a bit undervalued by Toronto. Based on me watching him play the game, I think the kid's got a very high end ceiling, very, very high end potential. I can't really understand, him just still sitting out there. Yeah, absolutely. And that series brute force between Tampa and Toronto, I was very nervous on the Bulls broadcast. You can hear me talking about, I try to remain cool, calm, collected, but I was a bit nervous. I didn't think Tampa was looking the greatest. I thought Toronto was playing relatively well. I really did not expect a Game 7 win for Tampa, but it was good to see it happen. For me, obviously for our podcast, we got to keep rolling a little bit longer and supporting the team through the playoffs. But I thought that was going to be a series that Toronto probably ended up winning once we started getting to like the game 4, 5, 6 point. So it was a bit surprising. I would say there's reason to be optimistic for Toronto fans based on that series. I mean, if you played about any other team that was in the East at that point, you probably win the series. Let's be honest. Maybe the Rangers can beat you as well based on the way Shesterkin played, but pretty much any other matchup that they would have had the upper hand in, I would say. But we are at the end of the second period here. Go over what went on a little bit. Landon Slager goal early in the period, just shortly after the 5 power play ended. The goal was changed to Red Savage, where it was originally given to Logan Cooley, but Red Savage kind of a crash in the net type goal. Then there was one disallowed where it ended up being just a whole mess of plays. Ended up with a Matthew Kanai's high stick. Puck gets played down, and Matthew Coronado was down on the ice and batted it in. But it was determined that after 2 different reviews, the puck was not touched by a German, so the U.S. could not play the puck there. So that goal is disallowed, and then Duran gets the 5th goal of the period. About a minute left in the game, or a minute left in the period, excuse me. So we got 5-0 United States. They're in a solid spot here. I don't think there's much reason for concern to lose this game, but it would be nice to see them, score a little bit more. And that's a good point, William. I like the Giordano signing for a team that's obviously trying to go win a cup. It's good to get a veteran presence type guy. He's not someone who has cup experience. Maybe that type of player would have been better, but it's a hometown guy playing on a super cheap team friendly deal, so I can understand. But when it comes to just talent on the ice, I mean, give me Sandin every day of the week. I don't think that's much a debate in my eyes. Yeah, Giordano had a hell of a career. It was an impressive one, going over to the KHL, coming back and really establishing himself as a dominant defenseman, becoming a Norris Trophy winner. But at the stage in his career, he's more of a supplemental piece. It's tough to have to, possibly let a guy like Sandin move on to try to go win a cup. But at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't know if they've explored the trade market for him or not. I think that would be the route at this point if they're not really looking to sign him to any sort of deal at the moment. Go look at the trade route, see what you can get in return. Maybe you can get some more complementary pieces. I'm not sure, but it definitely is tough. Really though, I just don't understand from other teams' perspectives how they haven't sent an offers sheet yet. I know it's talked about how NHL GMs at the end of the day, they're coworkers, they're friends. They don't want to upset their coworkers, friends, because whether whether you're on a different team or not, at the end of the day, you're still coworkers. You're all working through the NHL for the NHL. So you want to keep that good relationship. You want to be able to make trades down the road, do that type of stuff. So maybe if a team offers sheets a guy like Sandin, someone that they spent, good draft capital on, and they lose them, say, I'm a Lightning fan, say the Lightning were able to pull it off. Obviously, Tampa and Toronto would have, a potential of a little bit of kind of shaky ground in terms of Breezewall and Kyle Dubas, and maybe they wouldn't want to make any deals going forward, or at least Dubas wouldn't want to. But I just don't think that makes much sense. At the end of the day, you got to do what's best for your organization, what's best for your franchise, and if you can get a great player for a cheap price, like you got to do it. I don't see how you can just let someone like that kind of still sit out there. Yeah, 6-1 USA projection, 6-4 USA. Yes, so 6-1, that is my exact prediction, whatever you want to call it, going into the game. So if that hits, cool. That's great. Now, I did call 5-0 at some point in that period too. It is 5-0 now. I got to imagine the US squeaks at least one more somewhere. So I would probably call this a 6-0 game. Maybe it gets to 7, but 6-4, I don't know if I can get there. I don't know if I can see 4 German goals. They have really not done much to compete in this game. If that happens, then And more power to you. I'll be hitting you up for your betting advice down the road, but I can't see it happening. Yeah, poor Nikita Kwapta. The guy's just playing his heart out. Lets up a tough goal there for the fifth one, but he's really just playing his heart out, doing everything he can. The German team in front of him is really not giving him much support. See, I could see a realm where this is possible. 8-2 US. I could see how 2 goals might squeak in. I mean, you've had Mberico just kind of sitting back there for the US, not really taking too many shots at this point in the game. I could see where maybe 1 or 2 can squeeze by him because he's a little bit cold, a little bit surprised, especially with that freaking 10-minute review that slowed things down. I could see maybe 2 squeaking in and the US pounding in a couple more because I'm surprised the US hasn't scored more yet. But I definitely can't see them scoring more than 2. And 2 seems even unlikely at this point. I would safely bet on no goals coming from the German side at this point. Yep, and I definitely agree that Germans aren't scoring 4. I can't see a path to that happening. It'd be exciting. It would absolutely be exciting if that happened. It would make for a little more excitement in this game that's been a little bit underwhelming, but I don't really see a route where that could happen. You're looking at a team that has 6 shots on net through 2 periods. You had 4 after the first period, so you had 2 in the last period. There's not really much room for optimism there. Oh, I didn't even realize this. That there's been no penalties on the U.S. side. 29 penalty minutes for Germany because of that game misconduct. That's surprising. That's funny to see. I am a bit surprised though to see that the faceoffs are this way. 16-12. We saw that earlier in the game. It was I believe it was 5 faceoffs hold in the first period, and it was 4-1 in the USA's favor. So figured it was going to kind of go more that way throughout the rest of this game. Obviously, that has not happened. But second period stats, you see here. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe that was just early in the first period that I saw the stats. Yeah, that was early in the first period I saw the stats. But anyway, second period, the shot ended up being 9-2. So it slowed down a bit for the U.S. Was not necessarily as dominant, but they still look like the better team. And it was just really just kind of a case where this German team, they're trying their hardest. They're out here, they're getting a great experience, but it's just it's a tough hill for them to climb over. Yeah, I can get behind this. I really felt like 5 goals was going to be the winning margin, and right now with it being 5-0, I could see how it could be a 6 goal margin possibly. So whether it be 6-0, 7-1, I could see one of those. I could definitely see 6-1 as well. But I would say it's safe to say that the U.S. should be covering the spread throughout the rest of the game. Should not be a problem. Hopefully the over can hit for those over bettors as well. If you're an under better, well, you need to live life on the edge more. Always bet the over. The over is so much more exciting to bet for than the under. Hate having to bet the under and rooting for for a low scoring game. Let's all root for the highest scoring game as possible. I am going to take another quick bathroom break, so I will hopefully be back for you just in a few minutes. Hello, everyone, again. Thank you for being here for the live stream during this Team USA and Team Germany World Junior game. Game's going a bit longer than I expected, not going to lie to you. It was definitely delayed by that very long review there in the second period where we spent about 10 minutes trying to decide if that was a goal or not, which I thought was pretty clear it wasn't a goal. So very, very strange play. But nonetheless, here, hopefully getting the third period started up here kind of soon. Coast to Coast NHL hockey news. Hello, great to see you. Thanks for joining the stream. Do appreciate it. Predictions for the third period, as we have talked about a little bit, I'm kind of expecting, a 5 to 6 goal margin of victory. So I could see it being 6-1, 7-1, 7-2, 6-2. So I could see it being somewhere in that range, but I would probably not expect too much to change. I can't really see much of a world where Germany kind of figures it out and sets up the play too much. I got to imagine if they score, it's going to be kind of a fluky play just because the goaltending for the United States has not seen very much action, so they're a bit cold. So Mbarico is probably not going to get challenged too heavy in this period unless the U.S. really puts the brakes on. But at this game, if they put the brakes on, they're kind of in trouble. They have not been playing well enough to put the brakes on, or if they put the brakes on, despite them, obviously dominating Germany, they haven't looked great. So that would be a tough look and would probably, not end very well for them. I think the coaches have to be a bit unhappy. But yeah, going into third, expect a few more goals, but I don't think we'll see anything too crazy by any means. All right. Does this site show? It probably doesn't show player ice time, anything like that. I never really check it out too much. I doubt it. Doesn't look like it. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so really, this is my kind of first experience with Flash, where I don't use it too much. I was just kind of introduced to it recently, so just kind of learning a little bit, feeling things out. But definitely cool. I like that. They've got the standings here as well. So obviously, the U.S. and Germany games going on at the moment, but the way things currently stand, that's how it would play out. So do they show? Is it only Group B that they're showing here, or can I see Group A as well? Doesn't look like it. Interesting. Well, the flashback, Calvin had 2 assists in that game earlier too. I know he had the 2 goals, and he had 2 assists as well. Ratu, 4-point game for him in that Finland-Latvia game, 6-1 win for Finland. Ratu, that's a guy that I don't understand why he fell to the second round of the NHL draft. I understand why he might not go on first overall, like he was hyped up to in previous years. But it was pretty clear that he had the talent, things just weren't going his way. Kind of similar to a Brad Lambert situation this year where the talent's there, but things aren't going your way. But I think even to a higher extent with Ratu. So he falls to the second round of the Islanders and is already looking like a absolute gift, like an absolute steal where you don't need to overthink it. Look at the kid's talent. Remember where he was praised at before, and he's working out pretty well. So it was a great selection for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of got 2 questions here, so or 2 statements here. I would definitely expect Kosa to be the starting goalie for Team Canada. That would be great. I would expect him to do well. But for players that I'm looking for specifically to see within this World Junior Championship, I'm of course looking forward to Connor Bedard. The kid is just so incredible. In my years of scouting, I've been I am a hockey scout. I've been scouting for a little while in my years of watching different levels of hockey, and I've just never seen someone separate themselves so much from the pack like Connor Bedard has. I mean, he has NHL tools pretty much across the board, and he's had those tools for 2-3 years already. He's just such a dominant player. It's going to be very exciting to watch here for Team Canada. Other than that, really on this U.S. team, look to see a lot more Luke Hughes, see what he can do at the stage. Being a University of Michigan fan, it'll be good to see him back in Michigan as well, to see what he can kind of gear himself up for in the season. It really sucks that obviously Russia's not in this tournament. Would have loved to see Matvey Mishkov see what he could do in this, but it is what it is. In terms of Team Slovakia having Dalibor Dvorsky, someone who was looking like a very high-end pick in this upcoming draft. I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing him play more and more through this tournament because he's just an incredibly talented hockey player. I'm a lot more interested in honestly seeing a bit of the younger players compared to the older guys. Yeah, it's exciting to see the older guys, the drafted prospects starting to be playing, but I'm a really big fan of the up and coming part of the game. I'm really a big fan of the prospects. So I'm looking a lot more towards the younger guys, the guys that are getting opportunities from smaller countries sometimes, or like in Canada's case with Connor Bedard. Yeah, Ronnie Hirvonen playmaking, he really is just a smart hockey player is what it comes down to. He really knows how to generate offense in the offense zone. He's got a just great set of eyes on him. He can really find his teammates across the ice. He looked very strong in that game for Finland. He ended up getting player of the game for a reason because he is just a talented hockey player. So I am broadcasting from my kind of home office area. I am in the state of Michigan right now. And this area, behind me, I've got a Red Wings poster on this opposite wall. I am an American, but I have a Team Canada 1998 Olympic poster. I've got a Gordie Howe signed poster as well. Got a Super Bowl like tickets kind of picture thing too framed as well. So this is my home office, full of sports decor. Looking to add more to it as well. Predictions about the AFC West. I actually do. So it should be a pretty exciting division this year. If I really had to say, like who I think is going to win the division, it's hard for me not to go with the Chiefs. At the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is such an elite level. Yeah, losing Tyreek is hard, but I think Juju Smith-Schuster has been pretty like knocked down over the last couple of years. Not really to his fault. I think he's going to go on, have a nice season. And really, we've seen like the Chiefs team. It's even with Tyreek was there. You got Tyreek, you got Kelsey, but the running game that really got established. It was just a solid decor, and they still ended up finding ways to win. So I got to imagine they're going to take the top. But the Chargers, if someone's going to compete for it, it's them. Justin Herbert's just a special talent. I love that kid coming out of college. Was my number one prospect or number one quarterback at least in that draft class. I think he is just a great fit for the Chargers. That team is going to be very exciting this year. Big Mike Williams fan, big Derwin James fan. Really looking forward to that. When it comes to the Broncos, I think they're going to be very much in competition for a playoff spot. It's hard, you saw with the Rams, they won the Super Bowl this year with a brand new quarterback. And we've seen Tom Brady move to the Bucs and have instant success with that as well. But that's not a very common thing for quarterbacks to move on and go and just have immediate success. And I don't think, as talented as Russ is, I don't know how high his upside is because we've always seen him start the season hot, then slow down. I don't know if that was the way Pete Carroll made him do things or if that was, just how the way he plays. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does for the Broncos. If he can keep it up all season long, then they got a chance to do more than just compete. But if not, I feel like there's going to be more in a competing spot. And the Raiders are unfortunately just kind of be the odd man out there. Yeah, I'd be happy to see German score one here, Hines. It'd be cool to see him get one. I'd also love to see a U.S. shutout. I wouldn't mind that either. But they're definitely trying, despite their talent difference. So it'd be cool if we could see him squeeze out one. Yeah, Michael Misov, it can be very exciting to see him in the OHL this year. So he, if you don't follow junior hockey, he was recently granted exceptional player status after breaking Connor McDavid's record at the OHL Cup this year, 20 points through 7 games. I believe that was the number. But Misa is just a very, very exciting prospect going to the Saginaw Spirit, a team here in Michigan where I'm from. He should be stepping into a pretty good opportunity to get some good minutes. It was a team that was really just not a good spot, lost a lot of their top end guys over the last couple of years. The Cole Perfettis, the Ryan Suzuki's, the Owen Tippett's, the Bodie Wilds, those guys moved on to pro. So they're kind of through a rebuilding phase, and getting Misa should help big time. I don't know, honestly, how dominant of a season he's going to have as a 15-year-old when it comes to exceptional status players. I think he's lacking behind the McDavids, behind even the Shane Wrights, behind the Connor Brads, just a little bit, not necessarily point where he's just like miles behind them, not necessarily like a Sean Day level, but I do think he is a little bit behind there. I would, I happily be wrong. Hopefully he can go out and dominate because I am a Saginaw Spirit fan. At the end of the day, I would love to see them do well, and I'd love to see him do well. But it's a hard league to make an adjustment to. I mean, especially as a 15-year-old. You're all of a sudden, when you're that young, you're playing against guys that are your age the whole time. Then all of a sudden, as a 15-year-old, you got to go against someone who's 20, who's just so much more physically ready for the sport than you are. It's a hard transition. So I hope he can really surprise and have a great rookie year. It's hard for 15-year-olds to score a lot in that league. I mean, we saw Connor McDavid and Shane Wright, of course, do it. We've seen most exceptional status players do a pretty good job, but don't go out there and just put the expectations of this kid going out and having 70, 80 points, because at the end of the day, they're just kids. They're 15 years old. These exceptional status guys, it's a lot of pressure. And I just don't want you guys to go out there and expect them to just dominate right away. I expect to have success, but don't expect him to be some absolutely out of this world player. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he can be that type of guy, but it's just always not always fair to put those expectations on people. So I grew up a pretty big Red Wings fan. Nhl, this is my number one team pretty much for all my life. As I started getting older, I'm trying to build a career in hockey. And it's strange. My fandom has changed a bit more where I'm, not as diehard about the Red Wings as I was when I was younger. I still very much support them. I do the Tampa Bay Lightning podcast for the Hockey Podcast Network at Bolts Broadcast on Twitter. So I'm a big supporter of the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. That was a team that I supported for many years before getting the podcast even. So both the teams are very near and dear to my heart, and I support them a lot. But as I've gotten older and as I'm trying to build this my career, it's definitely become less of a fandom. Whereas now the NFL, the Detroit Lions are my favorite football team. That's my really biggest fandom when it comes to a sports team. So I'm definitely a Red Wings fan, definitely supporting them. A big fan of what Stevie Y is doing there. He obviously helped build Tampa into the dominant team that they are. So I'm a big fan of his work, and I'm really hoping to see them have some success this year. They had the free agency that says that they're going to try to, so hopefully it works out. I watch a little bit of baseball. I'm trying to get more into it this year. It's not really a sport that I've watched a ton in the past. I recently joined a fantasy baseball league that's a keeper league with a couple of my friends. So it's a four-player keeper league. It's a little bit new to me. I know most of the top guys and a pretty good amount of just regular roster players, but it's not a sport that I could say, I'm super well versed in. But I do, I am trying to get a bit more into it. It's tough being from Detroit and being a Tigers fan, watching what they go through. It's hard to have much faith in that team and that sport because it's just been so perennially terrible last few years. Yeah, that Tim Patrick injury, that is absolutely tough kissing. I like the talent a lot of Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, and I think KJ Hamler's got a chance to be a nice number 3, but Tim Patrick was one of these supremely underrated players in the league. And now that you're going to be without him, it changes the offense a little bit. It, offers, or it removes a more of a security type valve type player for Russell Wilson, where he's not necessarily someone that's getting the dump off place, but he's a bigger framed receiver who could go up and get a ball for Russ if he needed him to. And now you're missing that in the offense a little bit. It's definitely gonna be a tough adjustment. So let's hop into this. Why not? So, of course, I'm very optimistic about the Red Wings. I think Steve Yzerman is a genius. I think he's absolutely great at his job, did a great job building Tampa, has hit on a lot of his draft picks thus far. I know that's a lot more on the coaching or the scouting staff, Chris Draper leading that charge. Heck and Nilsson, their European scout. It's a lot more of those guys. But Stevie Y, he's made the right decisions. He's pretty much hasn't made a bad trade except for the Perlini Regula trade. Everything else he's done pretty good job on. I'm very optimistic about them. The Lions, I'm gonna go in order of my optimism. The Lions, I am very optimistic for the first time in my life. I am excited to watch them on Hard Knocks this year. It should be pretty cool. I'm gonna watch that once this stream is done. The first episode released tonight. But I love Dan Campbell. I love that coaching staff. You got 2 coordinators in Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn that have legitimate NFL head coach potential based on how Dan Campbell talks about them. So That's great to see. And then the young talent that's in there, it's starting to really kind of figure itself out. Jared Goff is a fine quarterback, but you have the DeAndre Swifts, TJ Hawkinsons, Amon-Ra St. Browns. Now you've got rookies such as Aiden Hutchinson. I think the team's really trending in the right direction, and it's really providing me some strong optimism. I am a Lions season ticket holder, had been my whole life, so I've been going to the games, experiencing them firsthand, and it's been tough, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. The Pistons, another team I'm optimistic about. Troy Weaver's done a pretty good job building that team. Basketball's the sport I really know the least of, but based on my readings, based on conversations with the friends I had that are much more into basketball, sounds like the Pistons are on the right track. And then the Tigers are just a lost cause at this point. I'm so out on the Tigers. I have so little faith in them at this point. It's very disheartening. I love going to Comerica Park. Love watching games when I can, but I just can't do it right now. I can't bring myself to do it. Thoughts on Joe Burrow? I think Joe Burrow is a stud. I was a big fan of him, coming into the NFL. Justin Herbert was the guy I had above him in that draft class, but Joe Burrow was like my very clear number 2. I had no issue with the Bengals taking first overall. I probably would have if I was the Bengals as well. It's kind of hard to pass on that kind of season, but I think he's primed to be a top 5 quarterback in the league, along with Justin Herbert, along with Josh Allen, along with Patrick Mahomes, and then that 5th spot. There's obviously some older guys in the league. There's Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. They could say they're right there. You could say that maybe Lamar or Kyler could be there. Maybe Trevor Lawrence or something could be right there. Maybe whoever it might be. But I think Burrow's in a good spot to be one of those top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Yeah, well, William, I do agree. Exceptional status is tricky to predict at 15. Right? Looked. I was working with the OHL during Wright's rookie season, and I'm telling you, the stuff that kid did on the ice was just incredible. I mean, watching some 15-year-old wearing an assistant captain letter on his jersey, going out there and driving all the offense for a terrible Kingston Frontenacs team, it really was incredible. It was something very special to see. Man, I can't talk about how impressive that rookie season was. And then it was just very unfortunate the way things have gone since then. Obviously, the pandemic season really hurt him this year. He started off really slow, started playing a lot better at the end of the year. His point production did improve, but he also did look a little different than he did as a rookie. He didn't look as dynamic offensively. I still have a lot of faith in him. I think he's going to be a first-line NHL center, a very great pick for Seattle at 4. I don't think he's going to end up with the Sean Day route. I really don't see that. Worst case scenario, he ends up a better version of Joe Veleno, who was an exceptional status kid as well, but is starting to find his role in the NHL and has become a really good middle 6 center by the end of it. I think that's the absolute worst case scenario for Shane Wright. I think he's pretty much safe to be a pretty good, or at least a pretty reliable NHLer for some years. Oh, this one made me very happy, seeing that the Oilers going back to those royal blue. Oh, they were so great. Those jerseys were 1,000% a top 5 jersey in the league, and when they changed, I can't tell you how sad I was. It was really disappointing. See that they're making the move back to that. Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled. That it looks so good on the ice. That royal blue with the orange and white. It looks so nice. It is one of the best jerseys in the league's history. I will safely declare that and battle that. It's definitely possible, brute force. If the Avs and Lightning could definitely play each other in the finals again this year, I have more faith, honestly, in the Avs in there than I do the Lightning. There's been a lot of changes. I mean, when you're losing, obviously Ryan McDonough for cap reasons, when Andre Palat is gone. I mean, even from the previous years when you had to lose out on Yanni Gord and Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow, when those guys left, it was tough. It's going to be different. But when you have Victor Hedman, when you have Andre Vasilevsky, when you have Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, Anthony Cirelli, Mikhail Sergachev, you've got so much talent on that roster, and it's a lot of the same core guys that were there for the Cup runs previously. You got to have a lot of optimism. Of course, the big rig Pat Maroon's still around. I mean, that guy's just allergic to missing the Stanley Cup Finals, so you got to have a little bit of faith there that he provides that boost for whatever reason. So I hope we see it again, but I don't think it's necessarily some locked and loaded thing. Diehard New York sports fan. man, that's it's you're. I love the range. I really do. There's some tough fandoms in there. Absolutely. Especially between the Giants and the Jets. If you're on the football side, that's not easy. The Islanders are a team that, yeah, they won hockey games the last few years. Last year obviously didn't go well, but they were just so boring to watch. Seeing a Matthew Barzal get his offensive upside kind of limited because of the system that Trotz wanted to implement. Yeah, it caused you to win hockey games, so it made for a much less exciting product on the ice. It's definitely tough. You've got some upside with the Rangers, of course. The Devils are in a great spot. I mean, the Yankees are the Yankees. The Yankees are going to dominate baseball until the end of time. So it's awesome that you're just a diehard New York sports fan in general. I like fans that can do that. Some people, I'm only a Yankees fan, or I'm only a Mets fan. I'm okay with that as well. I don't have any issue with it. But if you can just be happy for the state or for the area as a whole, kind of like the tri-state area, like you're saying, like I am with college sports, I'm just happy for any of the really any of the teams in the state to do well. I'm all for that as well. Would Joe Burrow be worse than the Lions? Jared Goff is struggling. Yeah, I mean, probably it helps a lot having Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. Those guys are great complementary pieces, but I also think Joe Burrow's a good enough talent where he's going to elevate you a little bit. I think he would come to the Lions and elevate all the players around him. They'd probably, maybe they would have had another 2-3 wins on top of last year, but last year's roster was just so tough that it probably wasn't getting very far. So I don't think Joe Burrow would be worse. His stats might be worse, but as like an actual player, I don't think he would be worse. He would help have the Lions have even more autism than I already have for them. That'd be great. But I still have no faith in Jared Goff where it could work out. College basketball is a sport where I don't watch too much of it. College basketball. I'll turn on during like the tournament, during the March Madness tournament, but that's kind of about it. Basketball is really kind of the bottom tier of my sports for me. It just, for whatever reason, I've never really been, it never really been too eager to get into it. Do I hate Lightning fans? Absolutely not. I don't. I mean, I don't really see any issue with Lightning fans. I obviously do a podcast covering the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Bolts broadcast, and my interactions, I think everyone has been pretty good. I think that hockey in Florida is better than people expect, and Tampa fans are a lot stronger than people expect, and maybe that's why people maybe have issues with them. I don't know, but I don't. I personally don't see why anyone might have any issues. I don't know. That's just me. Andrew, great to have you back. I appreciate it. What happened? I mean, it's 5-0 USA. Shots are 47-7 now. It's still a dominant USA game without them looking very sharp. So that's really about all that's happened. The Leafs, will they make it past the first round at some point? Yeah, you would assume they will. You hope they will, but it's kind of funny at this point that they still haven't. So that's a fair enough point, Andrew. I can hear that. Okay, I can see what you're saying. You respect the next amount of their fans. I can understand that. I can feel the same way about a sports team, but sometimes Philly sports fans and Boston sports fans aren't always the greatest. They don't have always the greatest exchanges. Sometimes you even see Montreal Canadiens fans aren't always most pleasant, or sometimes Toronto Maple Leafs fans aren't pleasant. But I don't like to bunch, everybody into that group just because there's a few bad apples. So I can understand where you're coming from, but I don't really feel too much anger really one way or another towards any sort of fan base out there. I haven't been to a Michigan State hockey game, and man, I don't know. It's been a while. It's a great time. I love going to Munn and checking out a game. It's definitely fun, but it's probably been 6-7 years out. I was definitely still in high school, maybe even longer than that. But it's been a while. They're great atmospheres. College hockey games are great. They're a ton of fun. I highly recommend everyone going out supporting your lower levels of hockey in the area, whether it's college hockey or junior hockey or whatever it is. Definitely go support it because those smaller atmosphere games are definitely a ton of fun. Yeah, Tyler, I'm sure you do need goals. I know you had that over 7. I can't believe that there's been 47 shots on net for the United States with only 5 goals. Coop is playing well. The U.S. is also just kind of underwhelming as a whole too, though. I apologize. I realized I did not switch this back over to the match stats. I know nothing really has happened, but we'll just get that set up just in case something does happen. Andrew, diehard Toronto fan. Yeah, that's fair. It's three fun teams to root for too. Really, when you're looking at when you're looking at the Leafs, the Raptors, and the Blue Jays. Excuse me. What sport am I missing here? Oh, football. There's no football there. There's the CFL, but I'm not really well versed in the CFL. But the Blue Jays are really my second favorite baseball team that I root for. It's fun to root for. I like Vladdy Guerrero a lot. They're a ton of fun. And the Raptors, I'm a huge fan of the branding. Pretty much ever since I really like the old like actual Raptor logo, but I still like their new logos too. So I like supporting their non-hockey teams. Their hockey team itself, though, I feel bad for, but I don't necessarily go out there and support them. Yeah, and this is absolutely fair, really. I like it seems like Raptors fans are pretty diehard, so I can agree. I think they could really be a nice like nice, what's the word I'm looking for, atmosphere. That's the word I'm looking for. Really nice atmosphere for a playoff team. Yeah, like Toronto fans are definitely they come out very committed, very try hard, very die hard, all the way around. So actually, believe it or not, as big of a college football fan as I am, I've never been to a U of M game. I've been to one Michigan State game in my life. I've been to one Central Michigan game in my life, and that's it. I don't go to much college football games just because it hasn't ever really worked out my schedule in the past. But I do love college football. The one state game I did go to was pretty high up. They ended up beating the hell out of like Buffalo or Toledo or something out of a MAC school. It wasn't really much of a competition, but it was still cool. It was still cool to check out the field, check out the area. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm from Michigan. I do the Bolts broadcast for the Hockey Podcast Network. So that covers the Tampa Bay Lightning. I grew up a Red Wings fan. Germany just scored. Germany on the board. It's 5-1. So right now the spread is not covered by the U.S., but getting closer to the over. But anyway, I'm a Red Wings and Lightning fan when it comes to hockey. I'm a big football fan, big Detroit Lions fan. I'm really into fantasy sports. I love fantasy football, love fantasy hockey, love fantasy baseball, even though I'm not the biggest baseball fan, still trying to get into it more and more. But really, when it comes down to it, sports at the end of the day, they're kind of my life. All year long, I'm watching sports, reading sports articles, and this is just a nifty little play by the German player here. This is number 8. I don't know who's number 8 is, but nifty little move. Umberto probably should have made the save. Gave up that 5-hole a little too easily, but that's just the way she goes sometimes. So it's good to see. Good to see Germany get on the board. Good for them. But now we need a little more scoring from the U.S. to make sure they cover that spread. Oh yeah, so yeah, the Argos and TFC. Yeah, soccer is a sport that, especially in the U.S. or North America, I should say, I'm so out of the loop on. I can't even comment on. The Maple Leafs or the Cowboys, the NHL. That's a good question. I probably would agree because when you think of it, you just kind of like the Cowboys. If you're just a generic sports fan, everyone can name the Cowboys when it comes to football, and I think everyone can pretty much name the Maple Leafs when it comes to hockey. So it's definitely a fair argument. I could agree with that, but it's definitely a little different with the size of each sports. Like fandoms, like the football fandom is quite large, especially the NFL, whereas hockey's isn't nearly as big. I wish it was larger, but reality is that it's not. But I can pretty much agree with that, though. I would definitely say that they're comparable. As a Bolts fan, where would you rank Kucherov league wide? I've seen people say he's top 3, top 5, say he's not even top 10. When he's not under 4th, 5th, 6th best player. So, in my opinion, he's pretty clearly the best right winger in the league right now. Some guys that compete for that are a Mitch Marner or a Patrick Kane, but Nikita Kucherov, he takes the cake. When you're comparing him to the other players, I'm taking McDavid over him. I'm taking Matthews over him. I'm taking, I might even take Leon Draisaitl over him. Probably taking Cale Makar over him. But at the end of the day, like I don't know how I don't know how many guys I'm taking other than I'm taking over him. I think I was still even underrated as an Alexander Barkov or, um, I as much as I like someone like Johnny Gaudreau, he's just still not in the same stratosphere in my opinion. So I could really, I have a fair argument to say that he's my fifth ranked player in the league at worst. To say he's not even top 10 like that's just asinine. NFL team I root for. It's the Detroit Lions, diehard fan. Been going to games my whole life. Will continue going to games my whole life. That's the team that is my number one fandom at the end of the day. Hockey is my true love. It's my favorite sport, but the number one team that I support above all else is the Detroit Lions. Royal, you're a Princeton fan. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's not necessarily super exciting football, compared to some of the bigger schools, but nonetheless, it's still college football. I'm sure games are still probably pretty solid. Yep. I'll take hockey. Do appreciate you coming out supporting. Hope everyone has a great night. Indeed, that would be great. I would love that. Appreciate everyone coming out. Hopefully, if you're out on the west, you still got a little bit of time left in your day. If you're out east, like I am, we're past midnight. Once this game wraps up, it'll be about bedtime. So I do appreciate everyone coming out. Yet again, if you could like the stream, I have not checked the likes, but if we get to 75, I will be doing a Bolts broadcast giveaway. You can find my Twitter at Bolts Broadcast. It's at Bolts Broadcast. If we get to 75 likes and if we get to 100, then we will do a giveaway for the Hockey Podcast Network merch as well. So make sure to like the stream, send it to anyone, get your likes out there. Andrew, you're a Bills fan. I love the Bills. Josh Allen is my favorite NFL player at the moment right now. I love Josh Allen. Loved him coming out of college. Was a huge fan of him out of Wyoming. He was my number one player in that draft class. That's who I would have taken first overall if I was the Browns. Not even a debate. So I'm happy to see him doing well in Buffalo. It's a team that I do like supporting too. I think that they're poised for another hell of a season. Right now, they're my Super Bowl favorites. Kisson, what do you mean by World Juniors rival? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. If you clarify, I can try to answer that a little better for you. Favorite color? It's kind of generic, but I mean it's blue. Blue is nice and simple. My elementary school, my middle school, my high school, my college, every team had blue colors. Every school had blue colors. A lot of teams I played for growing up playing hockey had blue colors. So blue, it's just a nice, simple color to enjoy. Looks well on most things. So blue is got to be my top. And then favorite food and song. So food, it's I could go a couple routes here, but I think I'm gonna go with specifically Chick-fil-A's spicy chicken sandwich. There's just nothing better than Chick-fil-A as a whole, in my opinion. Their spicy chicken sandwich is top notch. Their waffle fries are fantastic. Other than that, I'm a big fan of buffalo wings. I like pizza, but Chick-fil-A that's what takes cake for me. I'd eat that every single day of my life if I could. I'm craving some right now. My favorite song. So I'm more of an alternative rock type of guy. Like two of my favorite bands are Green Day and My Chemical Romance. So my favorite song of all time is Helena by My Chemical Romance. If you're not familiar, check it out. If you're into more of like the alternative rock, not necessarily heavy rock, but like that like emo-ish type of rock type of music. If you're into that style of music, it could be up. You could be up for your that's what I'm looking for. It could really be up your alley. Yeah, I'm jealous for you. I hope to get out to a Michigan game. I'd love to get to the big house here pretty soon. It seems like a great atmosphere, but I've never been. I really hope I can get out there soon. Have you ever had a Hail Mary Super Bowl hockey prediction that you hit on, and do you have any bold predictions for next season? So I'm trying to think here for hockey ones. I I'll try to come back and think on it because it's not one that's coming right off. Like right at the top of my head for this season. Oh man, this is tough putting me on the spot here. I try to put together these a little more as I get a little closer to the season. But for this season, gosh, you know what, William, let me think on this. I'm gonna have something for you. I promise. Because I was born in '98, so to go back to the '90s would to experience it a little more would definitely be interesting. The style of hockey was way different than it is now. I'd love to be able to check out that style of hockey. Um, and then of course to enjoy the music, and that era is fantastic. I'm a big music fan, and back when ska and grunge and really kind of like alternative rock was starting to take off, that it was just a great era of music for me. So I'm all for going back to that type of music. And as you said there, yeah, early 2000s music, it's great as well. So I'm still trying to think of that hockey take. So I'm trying to think my boldest hockey take that I had that worked out. Hmm. I can't really think of one right off the top of my head. Yeah, I do apologize for that. I can't think of one, but this season, it's I don't know if it's a bold take, but I think we're going to see somebody new lead the league in scoring than previous years. Whether that's in terms of point scoring. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a Connor McDavid type guy. I think we could see someone a bit younger really come onto the scene. This is my bold take. Actually, you know what? I like this one a lot. I think that there's a chance Cale Makar leads league in points this year. The last time it's been done by a defenseman, I couldn't even tell you. I would assume it's Bobby Orr. It's hard to score that much from the back end, but we've seen what Cale Makar can do as a play driver. I would not be that surprised at all if he ends up leading the league and scoring at some point in his career. And hell, why not? Why not be next season? Why not? Um, I am 24 years old. Just turned 24 in April. Um, so I graduated college just a couple years ago. Still a bit younger, feel old. My body feels old. My back aches and knees are tight, all that stuff. But I know, I know I'm still young. Still got a lot of time left. A lot of time left in this world. Hmm. Hockey takes. Hockey takes. Yeah, we're not professionals. If you're still in your mic, if you can think of one that I had that comes right to your head, send it in the chat, because I can't think of one right now. Like a bold hockey take I had that worked out. I mean, every take I had worked out because I'm just a genius, of course. But in reality, yeah, I can't really think of. I can't think of one right off the top of my head. So we got about a minute and a half left in the game here. Still 5-1 USA. Unfortunately, unless they squeak one in here, the they will not have covered. Germany will have covered the spread instead, and that would be a tough day for my brother because he took the US on the spread and the over. I don't I don't know if that's necessarily some bold out of this world take predicting them year after year after year after year after you kept failing and then they luckily get in there. I think that's just more bad luck on your end, Mike. I mean, it's a fair point. I was born in '98, and yeah, I was born in the '90s. I was a kid in the '90s, technically, but I didn't really get to experience the '90s, so I can understand kind of both sides of this argument. Where if you want to say, oh, you weren't in the '90s because you didn't get to experience things fully, sure, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I was born in that decade. I couldn't control when I was born. I couldn't control if I was born earlier or later. So it is what it is. So I can understand both sides of it. Oh, this is a bad beat for the spread betters for Team USA. Not gonna lie. Should a team 50-11 only get a four goal win? That's tough. Oh, this is what you're saying. I don't even remember predicting that, to be honest. So, but fair enough. No, I appreciate you remember that for me. Um, Yeah, no, that definitely was a unique situation for that year, but yeah, I do appreciate you remembering that. But we do have a final score in the game, 5-1. United States officially beats Germany. I am very surprised by this game at the end of the day. I really thought that it was going to be a bigger win, especially once we saw the final shot totals. I mean, 50-11 in favor of the United States. That is substantial. Nikita Kwap played really well. I mean, he's the player of the game in this game. Like, there's just no doubt about it. To let up 5 goals and still have a 900 save percentage in the game, that kind of tells you all you need to know about how well he played and how well team in front of him played. So hats off to him. Hats off to his performance. Hopefully he has better luck with his teammates from him going forward the rest of the tournament, but I'm sure he's going to be tired. Going to get a good sleep tonight. The U.S., they slowed down from the first period. 24 shots in the first is great, and they barely doubled that throughout the rest of the game. Didn't really look great throughout all of it. Looked a bit sloppy. It is summer hockey. There's plenty of time for things to get figured out. There's, enough games in the tournament where by the time the medal round comes, by the time the quarterfinals come, they could be putting out, a much better effort. But as it stands right now, it was a bit scary, and I'm a little bit nervous on what might be going forward with the U.S. The goaltending is obviously lacking star power, and then I thought the offense is going to be a little bit better. So it's a little worrisome, but let's just hope it's first game of the tournament's, a later game. Maybe they'll be fine going forward. Gotta say though, I do really like these player of the game gifts that they give out. It's different for different tournaments. And how did Nikita Kwap not get player of the game for Germany? Are you kidding me? He should have to give that to his goalie. That's unbelievable. That is absolutely unbelievable. That makes me actually angry. But as I was saying, these player of the game sticks are super cool. Each tournament, each host city gets to give out different gifts. Like if you watch the Holinka Gretzky's, they were giving out cowboy hats for the Stampede. It's pretty cool. It's different gifts across different tournaments. So it's definitely unique getting to see these different spins on things. Wow, I can't believe Nikita Kwap didn't win player of the game. That he was the best player in this game in general. I don't know how you can even argue that. Like, yeah, sure, his 5th goal was a bit shaky, but he made 45 saves against a team that's just so much better than him. I don't know what else you expect. That's got to be disappointing for him. I would probably be annoyed if I, like, even as the guy winning the stick, if I won that stick in that situation, I would not feel good winning that stick. I wouldn't feel right. I'm sure if you try giving it to him, he wouldn't want to take it from you. But like it just that really is shocking. That he didn't get that. Wow, I can't believe it. But congrats to the U.S. on the win. I appreciate everybody coming out yet again. I'm gonna drop our podcast Twitter. Oh, I don't know what happened to my stream. I accidentally hit my camera. That's what happened. I'm gonna post our podcast Twitter here in the chat. If you could go follow us, I would really appreciate it. If you have not liked the stream yet, if you could like this stream, I would really appreciate that as well. If you have not subscribed to the Hockey Podcast Network, please be sure to do so. We provide lots of great content. We'll be doing more live streams going through the rest of the World Juniors. We've got another 10 days of this, so there'll be more streams going on. As Dylan said, he will be hosting a stream tomorrow for the Canada Latvia game, I believe it is, and I do appreciate the kind words from you, Dylan. I do appreciate that. What else? What other food do you like over pizza? I would. I would have to say that, just like chicken's, it's a good bet, and Chick-fil-A, it really is my number one type of food. I wish it wasn't 12:45 in the mornings. I'd go get a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich right now because it just sounds so good as I'm pretty hungry. So that's got to take the cake for me, absolutely. But yeah, at Brute Force, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the stream. It was absolutely a good time. It was a good experience for me. My first time doing a watch along for the Hockey Podcast Network. I enjoyed. This has been great. So I will be getting some more games in during this World Junior process as well. I'm for sure going to be doing game one of the quarterfinals. Hopefully I can get more games in that day as well. I got to check my schedule going forward. I'm going to see if I can squeeze in some more games as well. But as of right now, I will for sure be back for the first game on August 17th. I appreciate everyone coming out yet again. Yeah, this is definitely a good time. Definitely a unique experience. I'm happy that it worked out pretty well. The game went a bit long, but I do appreciate your guys' support all the way through. So this is me signing off. Again, thank you very much for everything that you did, for all the support tonight. While you're here, make sure to subscribe and like. Thank you very much.